Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Drop Frames Co. What episode are we on?
38,211.
All right, that's it. There's nothing to talk about at all. We have not played any games this past week. Well, we've played a game, I guess. Zeke, did you played other games, right? I think I played other games. Should we talk about those other games first, or should we get the Death Stranding out of the way? Because I feel like if we start the Death Stranding talk, it's gonna be a while. There's a lot to say, I think.
To unpack.
Yeah.
Is there any news to discuss or anything, or
We could
just
do some
something that we
news.
could chew on for
Do you want
10
like
minutes?
a palate cleanser? Should we do that?
Yeah, like aperitif.
Okay,
so
all
to
right. Let's
speak.
get some aperitif. Yeah, some appetizers here. Before we jump into
Here's
the
the
Death
news.
Stranding.
Here's the news. They renewed Witcher for a second season.
Yeah, that's a thing that happened. The first one's not even out, and they're like, we're gonna give this a second go. Let's go ahead and sign that up. So
I guess 35 million views in your initial trailer will do that.
yeah, right. Like it's a remarkable thing. I really wonder of all of the shows, I guess, right now, like Mandalorian for Disney Plus is their big one. What is Amazon's big? Oh, Amazon's got Lord of the Rings coming out. I guess that's their big show. Witcher is probably the big one for Netflix, right? That's coming out soon.
There's a Lord of the Rings series coming out.
Yeah, it's like a TV show or like a show, not a movie on Amazon. But I think it takes place before all of the Lord of the Rings books. Like I don't know much about it.
Okay.
At least off the top of my head. So, yeah, I guess I don't know what's new, but yeah, seems like
Witcher, the Silmarillion or whatever.
I think it takes place before that. So,
Card.
Is that Amazon? I thought that's CBS. That's just like
no,
the
that was
CBS.
Is
that Amazon? I mean, maybe that's not Amazon.
I think that's only on the CBS network thing.
Okay.
I don't know what that's called.
Someone from Hawk of Storm says Wheel of Time is on Amazon.
Okay. All right.
The Wheel of Time is a big, that's kind of a big deal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they've never done anything with the Wheel of Time, and that was a huge like fantasy series, like one of the biggest.
They are coming off the very successful, from what I heard, The Boys, which went into a pretty sure. I don't know if they've already announced it. I'm guessing they have, but I'm thinking a season 2 is on the way.
I hope so. Yeah. I really like season 1.
And guys, I think we're talking about new stuff, not like The Expanse, which we all know of. It's going into the 4th season. We're not talking about new shit.
Let's talk about Seinfeld. That's a TV show.
Have you guys seen Friends?
Yeah, I heard Friends is actually getting a brand new show. Speaking of Friends, on HBO Max, they're getting the whole cast back together. So
I'm out.
That's a thing. That's a thing that's happening.
All right, I was doing the Seinfeld episode.
Yeah. No, I got you. Yeah. So there's a new Friends reunion coming. Anyways, The Witcher 3. It's going to be hard to talk about that show without saying 3 afterwards. I feel like that's all I've said. I've said The Witcher 3. I've never just said The Witcher. I never just talk about The Witcher without a number after it.
I can't wait for The Witcher show to come out and there just to be literally hundreds of thousands of people around the world being like, wait, this isn't the game? What's this?
Yeah. Or alternatively, wait, there's a game? What's this game about? Yeah.
It's true.
I wonder how many new gamers are going to be playing the Witcher series with that. I wonder if that's something that CD Projekt Red is going to actively promote.
Wasn't this the one with 2 swords?
No? Yeah.
What?
Do you think they'll play whatever that fucking card game is in the show and then be like, download now for free the app? And it just got...
Gwent?
Yeah, Gwent, yeah.
Gwent is specifically a game thing. They actually made it for the Witcher game. So
yeah.
I'd be surprised if we did, honestly. Apparently, they're making efforts not to overlap. So we'll have to see.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay.
So I heard the Witcher himself could be Geralt could be reached for comment, and he was heard to say, "I'm very excited about this. Let me tell you, it's going to be a great series. The whole series is going to be fantastic. There's going to be lots of," and then everybody just fucking fell asleep. It was great.
I just can't wait to see people get upset when they change the slightest things for the TV show, like the outcry of. But in the books, it's so much different than the games. And the games is so much different. They should have done it this. There's gonna be so much bullshit that's gonna happen. I'm sure.
Dude, talking about the Witcher is one of the biggest invites for the actually people I've ever dealt with.
That's true. I
Holy shit! Like they have to get these big comically big glasses to push up.
They just send them those in the mail. If you do it enough times, you just get those from CD Projekt. Yeah,
they're gonna come free with the box set.
Yeah. What else? Did you guys see the new Sonic trailer with the updated model?
Dude, I saw a great tweet, and it's like, "Mom, complaining never gets you anywhere." Me, have you seen the new Sonic trailer?
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird.
Great.
It definitely looks great. It looks better. We'll just preface that. It's weird how people are like taking ownership of it. Like IGN was out there tweeting like, "We did it, guys," and it's like it's kind of weird. I don't know how I feel about that.
Then again, to be fair, IGN needs every win it can get these days.
Yeah. I mean,
grabbing anything they can.
I guess at some level, like you can take ownership for it because they changed it due to the backlash, right? But for like a corporate site or like an entity to say like, "Hey, that was our doing," I don't know. That's a little weird. It also sets a really weird precedent. Like if you bitch enough, will it just get someone to change something? I don't know. Know. That's a whole weird thing.
There's that like semi tinfoil hat theory out there that they did that on purpose, that they made it look shitty on purpose.
Sure.
So they could change it later and just to cause a kerfuffle, which I mean, if so, kind of genius.
Yeah. That's a lot of money. Just
completely genius, I'd say. Yeah, if that was actually the plan from the beginning, then it worked beautifully and someone should get a raise.
Yeah. It's a lot of money for a maybe to work, but I guess it paid off. So yeah, that's a thing that came out. They're like out of nowhere. Microsoft said that Obsidian is announcing a new IP or something tomorrow. There was a tweet that came out like an hour or so ago at Exo19, their big event tomorrow in London, that Obsidian's going to show something new. I don't know what the hell that is.
Yeah.
Does that mean that they're just done with the Outer Worlds then? Like, are they? Is that?
Oh, probably not. But it's important to remember that Outer Worlds is not under the Microsoft umbrella.
Right.
So maybe Microsoft wants to come out of the gate swinging with some big brand new IP kind of thing. We also know from Josh Sawyer's Tumblr post where he kind of did a quasi post-mortem on PoE 2. It's a very good chance we won't see any more Pillars of Eternity, unfortunately. So that being said, like this could just be their next kind of big RPG thing that's not Outer Worlds. So yeah, we'll have to see.
Yeah.
I like that Outer Worlds.
Yeah, maybe. With Outer Wilds coming out this year as well, that's been a fumbling, I think, throughout the entire year for me. I've just always said the wrong game whenever I'm trying to talk about the other one. Yeah, that the Exo19 thing, what else are they saying? Bleeding Edge is going to be there. Minecraft Dungeons is going to be there. Wasteland 3 will be there. A new IP from Obsidian and Rare. A Shadow Drop. What the fuck is a Shadow Drop? Is that like an industry term or what is a Shadow Drop?
Not heard of it.
I don't know what a Shadow Drop is.
Can say though, Wasteland 3, I read a preview of somebody who sat down with the Wasteland 3 build, and apparently that game is looking great. Like they said, it ran well, the UI was phenomenal, combat was fun. Yeah, Wasteland 3 is starting to look pretty sexy.
Nice. Apparently a Shadow Drop is a game that releases the same day as you announce it. I did not know that we had a term for that, but sure, I guess a shadow, that makes sense.
I have not heard that term.
Yeah, a Shadow Drop.
Good to know.
That's a thing. All of that Microsoft stuff at Exo19, their London event starts tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern. So, and I think that's restreamable. So I'll be restreaming it. I don't know if you guys are interested, but we could do something around that if you want to. Just let me know and we'll figure something out.
Other things aren't going on.
Yeah. Well, that's it. Yeah, I'm probably gonna check it out anyways. And we'll get to that when we talk about Death Stranding. I still gotta finish Death Stranding, so we'll see. Yeah. Zeke, what's up?
What's the date on that?
Tomorrow.
Oh, it is tomorrow.
Yeah.
Fuck. Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know. We'll talk after the show or something for that. Exile Con is happening on Friday. That's at I think 5 Eastern or 6 Eastern Friday night. So they're going to be showing 3.9 and then 4.0 for Path of Exile, which will be interesting to say the least for those that have been following BlizzCon and all the Diablo 4 stuff. I'm surprised there's been no leaks. Like, there's nothing out there in terms of what they're teasing, except for the fact that it's just going to be a big deal. So I don't know what to expect from that. I really don't know what I would want from Path of Exile 4.0. Besides just like a complete revamp of the game. In terms of like a new engine or anything like that.
You have like a biggest, like, either not necessarily gripe, but like maybe something you would improve upon or change or something like that. Like, is there a like one biggest thing that you would change about Path of Exile?
I think it's a weird thing because if I say things, they're going to appear as minor changes to people that don't play. But for people that play the game, they're like monumental, like monolithic changes. So it's a really odd thing to talk about. Like, I don't think you could do an actual auction house system because then the entire currency market is like weird unless you somehow incorporate that into it. And then it's just that's not Path of Exile in a sense. Like it gets, I don't know. Like there's so much stuff that they could change that will change the game fundamentally. And there's other stuff that they could just leave alone, and I'd be okay with that. I don't know what I would want from a Path of Exile 4.0. The stuff that they have updated has been stuff that's been so out of left field in terms of the recent patches, where it's like, you're going to play a tower defense game. Okay. I didn't know you could do that, but sure, let's check that out. Or with like delve, you're going to go mining and like delve deeper into the mines with different mechanics. And okay, cool. That's fun. So I guess what I'm most excited about is like the crazy shit, the stuff that I have no idea to expect, because that's what GGG is always going to deliver on. Yeah.
The best updates for PoE for me have been ones like that.
Yeah.
It's just like, what is this? Let me try. Oh, this is cool. Like that progression has happened more than once with them.
Yeah. I think it would be interesting if they got rid of the axe, but I don't know how you do that without changing the game completely. That is like the leveling process of going from Act 1 through Act 10. Because like one of the biggest complaints for people that are new to the series or new to the game and not necessarily super into it is they hate leveling all the way through Act 1 through 10 every 3 months. It's the same thing. There's no difference whatsoever. And so most of the people that play the game a lot and have been playing for several seasons, they can get through that in like a day. And it's something that they kind of look forward to because you can kind of like challenge yourself and try to beat your times, etc. But for people who've never played it before, it's the same fucking thing, and it's a little bit
or people
tedious.
that don't play it enough to get fast at it.
Yeah, exactly. People that don't like dive in super hardcore.
The most I could see them doing is maybe having it so you'd only have to do the acts once per season. So maybe every herb or expansion. So like maybe every 3 months you have to run through the acts one time. But then when you get through the acts for that league, that it kind of like unlocks a character creation that takes place after the acts.
Yeah.
But I would, just like you said earlier, it would be a huge drastic change if they were to kind of remove the acts entirely. Also, another thing is if they remove the acts, then if they were to do a league that like made big changes to them or focused on them, then some players would have no reason to run through them. So
I don't know. That's the thing. Like anything big that comes to that game or any actual thing that they add in, it's going to be such a huge deal to the normal like PoE experience. That part of me wonders if anything is actually going to change on that front, and they're just going to do like a system, like an engine update or something like that for 4.0, or like character customizations, so you don't all have the same base model or something like that. Which would be weird to begin with because armor covers all that up anyways, and the MTX covers all that up anyways. So
the MTXs are one of the most like thorough customer character customizations I've seen in a game. Like you can really, especially at this point, there's many different things there are over all the last leagues. Like you can really think of an idea and spend about 5 minutes on the store and then like piece something together that almost looks exactly like what you're thinking.
Yeah.
Pretty impressive.
Yeah, they have a lot of crazy shit for sure. If you want to spend that money. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know what Friday's going to be. I don't know what to expect.
Is there anything like in PoE that has been like a staple since the beginning that they get like add on to, meaning like a new class or a new like line of whatever of like the upgrade system or whatever it's called, the tree.
Sure, yeah. I mean,
the wheel of life or whatever the fuck.
Yeah. I mean, they could add in a new ascendancy for each class. They could add in a new class, but the second that you do that, one of the fundamental problems with new players is that giant passive skill tree just grows, and so at that point, it's like, again, it's such a huge, like, the game is so. What's the best way to describe it? I mean, we've talked about it to death, but like, it's what?
Expansive.
Yeah, like, but it hinges on every other facet of the game. So if one thing changes, then something on the complete opposite side of the spectrum will have to change as well, right? Like everything affects everything else. So I don't know, anything that changes is going to be like a massive change. So I don't know what it's going to be. You were going to say something though.
I think involved would be a good word.
Yeah,
that's a good one too. But like to also touch on Zeke's question a little bit, almost every league they add in new gems. They sometimes add in new keystones and things in the passive tree. So like a lot of times when a new league opens up, they'll come up with like a fun or interesting build type, and then they'll kind of put the tools to put that build type in your game if you want to, be it editing a skill or changing one or just adding a new one entirely. So like the biggest things, like it would be wild if they added in a new base class, but that's like the pinnacle of what JP was talking about. Like a new base class would be literally hundreds to thousands of new builds that they would have to then like make sure aren't overpowered and fine tuned, and then like, it would be nuts. But oh man, I'm sure PoE folks would spend hundreds and hundreds of hours exploring that stuff. It could be really cool.
Yeah,
but yeah, isn't that what like a big? Is it a what is it called? A version, a patch? No, what like 4.0 would
patch.
Be a
yeah. So
okay,
yeah, patches. That would be the term they use for that type of stuff.
Yeah, that would be what a big patch is for then, right? To work out like those things, to like show you this like big new thing. Like we got a brand new character. We've had, I don't know, how many do they have now? Like or classes, like specific things.
6,
7 base,
6 or 7, something like that. Yeah,
6 actually. I think
they had one more, and this is what they've been working on. Like they had a whole team on this for like months and months.
Yeah. I don't know, because we're gonna get to the 3.9 is the patch that they're going to talk about, and then 4.0 is the expansion. For example, 3.0, when that came in, it added 5 new acts to the game, and it completely changed the game. Like Act 5 or Act 6 through 10 didn't exist until 3.0. I think that's correct. That's when like we all started playing primarily. So yeah, I don't know. It's going to be real interesting, especially with all the Diablo 4 stuff out there this past 2 weeks. You're going to see so many comparisons. So many.
Too early to do vanilla PoE? Too early for that?
Yeah. No one wants vanilla PoE. No one wants that.
I'm joking.
No one wants us to go back.
Now bring back PoE BR though.
Yeah, there you go.
That would be. I'd be okay with that.
I'd be into it. That'd be kind of fun.
What if they added like some of the more popular like season stuff? Like they made like 1 or 2 things permanent.
Well, they've already said that they want to do that type of stuff. They've said that there's too many things now in the game to do, and so they're gonna have to start like cycling stuff out, and taking stuff from past seasons, putting it out for one season, then maybe bringing it back in the next season. Because like when you hit maps in that game, there is actually too many things that you can do. And they did a pretty good job in the latest patch in terms of making it like bankable. And so you can get a map with this, but you don't necessarily have to do it that map. You can bank all this stuff, and then you can go do like 10 Xena maps in a row or whatever. And if you've never played Path of Exile, that means nothing to you. But if you have, then yeah, they've definitely made improvements to that type of stuff.
I mean, I haven't played Path of Exile since we had Ziggy on the show.
Yeah.
Like shortly thereafter, he did like a little like beginner run with me, and I still kind of understand what you're saying just from being on this show and having you talk about it. And
we've talked about it to death. Yeah.
Yeah, and if there's stuff I like go over, like as far as season stuff becoming permanent, people were saying like they already do that. Like, sorry.
Yeah, yeah. I think we might have one of the Path of Exile devs on the show after ExileCon, maybe next week or the week after, to kind of talk about everything that they've shown. Maybe as we get closer to 3.9 launch, it would make sense to have them on to kind of talk about that patch and then everything else. So, yeah, we wanted to have them on prior to, but it didn't make much sense because obviously it's just going to be me and Ko saying like, "Hey, what's in 4.0?" and them saying like, "I don't know."
That's the show.
Thanks
Great.
for coming on the show. We'll talk to you next time. Yeah. But that's Friday at 4 or 5 p.m. Eastern or something like that. It'll be also fun to see. It's their first like actual con, right? It's the first Exile con. It's the first time they've ever done anything like that. So I'm curious to see how that goes. Running a live event is a...
Oh, it is?
Yeah, running a live event is a monumental task. And if you somehow falter in terms of the stream, in terms of the quality, in terms of it going down or anything like that, the internet will remember and the Path of Exile community will meme the fuck out of you. So I'm interested to see what memes come from that. That could be fun as well. So, yeah.
Well, I mean, if it were me and I was doing it my first time out,
yeah,
I would make sure to like to try and keep people's expectations like this is our first time out, y'all. Like, give us a break. We're gonna do it. We're gonna take it. We're not gonna take it too seriously.
Yeah.
Like meaning like we're not going to try and be BlizzCon. You know,
right.
We're gonna do our thing. We're gonna see how it goes and make improvements, like they do with their game.
Yeah, I kind of hope they emulate what the Warframe guys do with TennoCon. Like I feel like that's a pretty good scaled event, and it gets their point across, and it keeps the character of the company and the game kind of in check the entire time, and it tends to go pretty well. At least the past two ones that they've had the past 2 years. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes. A lot of stuff here as the year is starting to dwindle down. After all that, though, like I think Star Wars this week it's the last big release, right? There's nothing else.
Well, it was supposed to be Phoenix Point early December, but then today they delayed it again.
Oh, that got delayed today?
Really disappointed. I was actually really looking forward to Phoenix Point. I mean, the stuff we've seen from it lately has looked pretty damn good. But yeah, and then of course there's Pokemon on Friday too for the Pokemon fans.
Yeah, that game's been fun to watch. Just the past 3 days of people just taking shits and hot takes.
What is it? Game Freak? Game Freak lied! You liars! God damn liars!
I don't
Did you hear about the latest thing, by the way?
No, I have not. Please. I have not checked it on any of that, except that people are upset.
So it is Game Freak, right? Yeah, guys have to help me out. Okay, it is Game Freak. Okay. So
I'm sorry. What are we talking about?
The Pokemon.
Talking about Pokemon drama.
Yeah.
Okay, involving the 2 new ones coming out on Friday. So here's what basically happened. This is a quick TLDR from somebody who doesn't play Pokemon.
Yes.
So there was a whole big kerfluffle that they weren't putting in like all the Pokemon, and they were citing all these reasons for why they couldn't. Well, today, somebody like data mined the game, and Game Freak apparently said something like, yeah, we don't have the models of the games anymore. Like they're not even in the game. Well, they actually data mined the game, and the models for the Pokemon that aren't in it are in the game.
Oh God.
So it's like just to, add a little fuel to that fire. Like it's becoming very clear that like this is just a huge Bethesda style marketing thing going on with these new games.
Weird.
And yeah. Oh, people are thinking it's DLC.
I could see that.
Oh, and they're also low poly and stuff. Yeah, it's not all the models. It's apparently just like some of the key ones. They also announced that one of the reviewers or something found that there's less moves, and they kind of changed some of the ones that people really liked. And I don't know. It's just everything I hear about it is just messy and messier and messy.
Yeah.
Quick side note before it gets too far away from it. Does anyone else get a little bit heartbroken when someone says Bethesda style and you just go, oh no?
Yeah.
Like I get a little heartbroken because we all know that's bad now, and I'm like, oh, but it used to be so good.
Negative
connotation. We were talking about that like on my channel for a little bit, where it's kind of like, you know the phrase, you live long enough to see yourself become your worst enemy. Well, in this case, it's kind of like with Bethesda. It's like you do enough bad stuff to see your actual company name become the indicator of bad things. Like, oh God, did they pull a Bethesda? Like, oh, whew. How the mighty have fallen.
Speaking of Bethesda, I saw a tidbit where they started banning people in that game. Like they're banning, I mean, they've been banning a lot of people, but they started banning longtime players, but also brand new players, and also the Fallout 76 subscribers or whatever for all that shit when they were like hunting people down. Do you know anything about that?
I don't, but let me make this clear. If that's the case, it will be the second time they've banned long-term players by accident.
Okay.
This isn't even the first time.
Yeah. I mean,
like
that's the type of...
6 months ago, they were accidentally banning literally their core group because they like ran scripts that said like, if you have enough of this stuff, you must be a hacker. So like all of the most dedicated players were getting hit by this thing for banning, and they weren't even addressing it for weeks. They didn't even admit that it was going on, let alone helping these people. But yeah, oh man. Woo!
Chat, yeah. Chat saying they banned a person who reported an exploit that was a longtime member and made a highly used resource for the game. So I don't know.
Have you guys ever like got a wild hair up your ass during a stream sometime and modded a troll just to see them go wild? I think that's what they did. Like that's what like, kind of what happened.
They just gave the company to a random guy for a day.
Yeah, just willy nilly, like, oh, you get a ban, fuck you, because I don't like your face. Get out of here.
Yeah.
A couple quick things. There are some reports in my chat that they were apparently banning people who found bugs and reported them, which is interesting. But also, some people are saying that when they did the big ban thing and banned long-term players, that they were catching a lot of cheaters and stuff. I know for a fact that not all of them were cheaters, because the Fallout 76 Reddit was on fire for like a week from these people. I'm sure they did get a lot of cheaters and hackers and stuff. But yeah, if you would have seen that Reddit, there's no question that there were other people getting caught in the crossfire.
Jesus Christ, what a fucking nightmare. So going back to Pokemon for a second, the one headline that I did read, which just seems fucking insane to me, is that the sound controls settings of the new Pokemon game are locked behind a key item that is obtained in-game from an optional NPC. The game does not inform the player about this NPC or option in any way.
Now, we have to be careful with this kind of stuff. That sounds ridiculous. It is ridiculous. But the only thing we've heard about that is from like a reviewer or something who was playing the game early, and that was their progression. For all we know, if you finish that chapter and haven't gotten the item, maybe they give it to you automatically or something. Like that's the kind of stuff we got to be a little bit careful with.
Yeah, totally. I agree.
Yeah. If that is how it is, though.
Yeah.
If that is how it is, that's insane.
Yeah, that's actually
that's
insane.
Absolutely insane.
Yeah. It's not like people who play these games and don't finish them make these wild assumptions about the games that they're playing. I mean, that doesn't happen.
Doesn't happen. No, of course not. Of course not. So yeah, I'm sure the Pokemon's world will be ablaze. I mean, it already is a little bit. But when that ships on Friday or tomorrow night, really is when all that shit will really hit the fan. It's also getting like pretty good reviews from a couple of the bigger sites out there. So I don't know what to think about it. You guys don't play Pokemon or have never played Pokemon, right?
I have played it for 30 minutes.
Yeah, that was it.
I played Pokemon Go for like the week that it was super duper popular.
Yeah.
And then that was it. I never like, I missed the Pokemon boat. Like, I guess the most I ever got into Pokemon was shortly after they created the card game, the TCG. I played that for a little bit, and then I stopped caring about Pokemon altogether, except for playing when I was playing Smash Brothers.
Yeah, and I've tried several times to like get into it, but it's never stuck. It's whatever.
Okay. Hold on now.
I think we grew up a little bit too late for that.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. I don't know.
Something real quick. If Nebros is right here, he says one of the big issues was that enabling subtitles appeared to be locked behind getting this item, which means it's a serious accessibility issue. Okay, if that is the case, where you can only turn on subtitles until you get that item, that's insane. Because that means that if you are deaf, then you are getting nothing until you get that item.
It's fucking weird, man. That's weird.
What?
I'm curious to see if that's the thing.
That seems super stupid. That's stupid to the point of being unbelievable. Like,
yeah, exactly. I'm thinking the same thing. Like, does Pokemon game have voice acting?
I don't know. I've always seen Pokemon games have like the text box, but maybe the new one has voice acting in it. I don't know.
Okay, yeah, because all I played Pokemon for a charity thing, and I remember pretty much all of it was in text.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that was also what a
maybe they were talking about like cutscene subtitles or something.
Yeah, I don't know.
Who knows?
I don't know. Ask us anything about Pokemon. We know nothing about that.
What's the name of it?
Of the Pokemon game?
And
probably Moon? 2 of them, right?
Sword and Shield.
Sword and Shield.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. Sun and Moon, I think, was the most recent one, maybe.
Salt and Pepper.
Salt and Pepper.
Phobos and Deimos.
There you go. I don't know.
I'd play that one actually.
That wouldn't be bad.
It'd be all like Doom Pokemon.
Oh God, yeah. Or it'd be, I guess it'd be Doom/Quake. Maybe they'd have a Doom version and a Quake version. I'd play the Quake version. Bethesda, there you go. Get the crossover happening. Hit up Nintendo. Yeah, that's just a money printing machine right there. I'm just kind of scrolling through the news to see if there's anything else. A bunch of like industry personnel changing news, which I don't know if we have too much to weigh in on. Guerrilla Games is Herman Holst is now PlayStation's new head of worldwide studios. That's like 3 or 4 different staff changes they've done at PlayStation.
The wrestler?
What? No, he's the Guerrilla Games director.
Oh, I'm thinking of a different.
Yeah, Zeke. They put the wrestler in charge of the worldwide studios for Sony. They're crazy over there. They're trying some new stuff for the PlayStation.
The CEO of Guerrilla Games, Hunter Hearst Helmsley.
Remember Sting? He does Nintendo now. It's crazy.
That's the world I want to live in. They've got wrestlers at the top of the 3 big game or console developers.
Let's not dwell on a minor joke that I made, okay? Like, it's not worth this much airtime.
I would want Sting at the top of Nintendo. I'd want Hulk Hogan at the top of Xbox. And then I guess Herman Holst, since he has already claimed it at Sony. That's who that should be. That's a tough
dangerous man picking Hogan. Trying to
Yeah, no, it'd be real crazy. There'd also be fucking, I'm sure. I'm trying to see if there's anything else. There's not been too much. Death Stranding's kind of like dominated the conversation at large in the gaming world, I think, this past week. I'm just scrolling down here real quick. And then I guess we could just talk about Death Stranding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we could squeeze an hour out of it.
Oh, I think, yeah.
A little more.
Yeah. Zeke, are you done with the game? Are you no longer playing? I'm going to start with simple yes or no questions. If you go over, I'm just going to start talking. Zeke, are you done with the game?
Meaning?
Are you done playing the game?
No.
Are you done playing the game on stream?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. Co beat it this morning, right? You're finished with it. Are you going to go back and play anything afterwards?
Don't really have enough time.
Okay.
Unfortunately, well, yes, maybe.
What the fuck? You gave him like 15 words. Horse shit.
Well, he stumbled through his yes and no's. It wasn't true. To be fair, that is true. I will take that into consideration, Zeke. Thank you for bringing it to my attention.
Your honor. A little leeway for me next time, then.
Okay.
Now someone cut me off. Jesus. All right.
Go.
Thank you, Zeke. Thank you.
I'm not done with the game. I'm on chapter 6 of X. Is it a spoiler? Should we just go into spoiler mode? Here's the thing. I don't know how to talk about this game without having some sense of spoilers in there. So should we just go spoiler mode?
It's kind of a difficult game to spoil. Like, I'm 25-ish hours in, and I'm still I still don't really know what the fuck is going on. Like, they just throw names at you, and words that they like terms they made up, and they do I was gonna say like a decent job of it. They don't really go into a huge explanation. They explain something by introducing a completely other idea that you have no idea. It's like, oh, the babies, they're connected to the beach. It's like, that wasn't an explanation. I don't know what the fuck the beach is. Like,
yeah.
It's like the Splongdork. The Splongdork, it's created by the flip-flop.
There's so many in the beginning of that game, and I say beginning, in the first 30, 40 hours of that game, Zeke, I 100% agree. Every sentence is, but the jargon did jargon, so we need to go find jargon. Don't you agree, jargon? Oh, yeah, jargon. For sure, jargon. That would make sense, jargon. Let's go get the jargon right now. And you're just
Sam, there's something I think you should know. That jargon. Line is probably like 10 times throughout the game. Just like at random. Sam, I think you need to know this.
Well, and the other thing is they tell you so many things 10 times. They tell you the same fucking thing like 10 times in different ways in the story. And it kind of beats you over the head with it. It's like, fucking the babies in the beach. Think about it. What does it mean? I don't know.
Well, it's funny. Okay, to be fair, like there are reasons they do some of that.
Well, I'm sure there's reasons, but
yeah, like it's yeah. Okay, here's what I should say. How about we talk about Death Stranding from a gameplay perspective? Okay. Let's just like not touch the story.
Let's do.
I think we should definitely all finish it and give our viewership a chance to finish it on their own before we even hint at anything that happens in the story.
Should we put up spoiler tags at all?
I'd say it's best if we keep even the gameplay discussion as light as possible. Honestly, like it's almost like we should wait a week. I mean, this is Hideo Kojima's magnum opus right now. There's a lot of people that have not had the 60 plus hours, in some cases 100 plus hours they're going to need to get to the end of their own pace.
Then let's do this.
I would honestly
let's do this. Let's talk about the game, and then we're going to put up spoiler tags and talk about everything else.
I'm sorry, sure, Chad is like revolting right now.
Yeah. People want to hear us talk about the game, so we'll talk about the game without I think most people know it's a delivery game at this point. We can kind of talk about that as an abstract, and then we'll talk about everything else with a spoiler tag on.
Real quick, the word jargon kind of hung me up because I don't think jargon's the right word, because jargon is like overly complex words to describe something, like legal jargon and stuff like that.
That's true.
What's a word? What's the term for words that you understand? If there is one, words that you understand but used in a way that is like more difficult to understand. Like, I mean, the beach. I know what the beach is, but in this particular instance, bullshit.
I think the best way you can put it,
bullshit's not.
I think the best way you can put it is that Kojima tells his stories in metaphors.
Metaphor. There you go. Yeah, metaphorical.
His language is essentially metaphor. So even the metaphors in the game, in that small contrived like world that he's not contrived, but that small world that he's made, like the metaphors are metaphors to other things as well. So it's like metaphors in metaphors. It's it's all metaphor. Yeah, all metaphor.
I agree with that.
Yeah, and they range from like vague and obtuse to like
on the fucking nose, like standing right in front of you, hitting you in the fucking head multiple times.
Yep. My name is Dead Man. My name is Die Hardman.
I'm fragile. It's just like, come on, man. Shit is all over the place.
But I'm not that fragile.
Man, that line. Oh god. There's a couple lines in this game that have tilted me to oblivion.
There's a few lines and a few scenes that are just like, dude,
I have to say
you're not even trying.
Here, we're gonna bring up our new assistant, Spoiler Bob. This is the spoiler warning down there. I want to say this.
That is fucking awesome.
I want to say this. The line where Fragile says the word multiverse early on in the game, I actually stood up and I just left the stream for like a solid 5 or 10 minutes. And I hope to God that doesn't come in to play anymore in the it's probably going to, but it pissed me the fuck off when she was like, by the way, that's the multiverse. Anyways, and then just kind of goes on to another thing. So stupid. And then the line with "I'm fragile, but I'm not that fragile," and like the most emotional fucking so stupid. Go ahead, Zeke.
Real quick, just watching this, is there a way to like if your packages get yard saled like mine did just then? Is there a way to like just pick them all up at once? Like, do you just go into your inventory?
I just spam triangle.
Okay. So you can't just like hold it down and everything goes.
No.
Okay.
You just have to spam it.
Nope.
Which I'll take us off spoiler for a second. Let's just talk about the gameplay in general. Let's talk about exactly what's happening here.
Yes, I definitely want to talk about this because my gut really wants to say how bad it is. Like how janky it is.
Yeah.
Like this part in particular, the driving on the motorcycle part, how I'm not just saying like the control of it, but the design of the motorcycle is incongruous with the terrain you constantly have to fucking drive over.
See,
they make the front tires this big on a land that is covered with rocks and pebbles and everything. Make the front tires bigger and the back tires smaller so you can get over that shit.
I hate to say this, and I never thought these things would come out of my mouth with like a positive spin, but I think that's by design. I honestly think that like the entire bullshit, annoying travel mechanics is by design so that you will build things.
Pave the roads. Yeah. I know.
Well, there's the road paving, but there's also a really, really cool mechanic, the way that it does paths. And not a lot of people know this. And as we go through the game, it becomes more apparent. So basically, the game, and this isn't a spoiler, this is a mechanic. The game always tracks where players are moving. If you look on the map, you'll see a lot of times paths that are not your own, like little suggested paths other people have taken. And what happens is, as players take the same path, not only do actual dirt paths show up, but all the rocks get removed from that path. So
now that is something I did not know about, and that is kind of fucking cool.
It's really fucking cool.
The premise here is that
we don't have to build a road or anything.
No, it just
it's all automatic
out over time.
Dirt path.
Wow.
So the premise here is that like if you work together and you work as a team, your traveling is easier and you can use vehicles and stuff like that. But if you go off the beaten path and you try to take motorcycles into unknown territory, then it's frustrating. It doesn't work well. It's slower. So like
I also want to be clear.
Allow me to be the first person to say you're welcome. You are very welcome. Those paths, courtesy of Ezekiel III, name the fucking road after me.
I am curious though. Do you know, Ko, if that comes into play before you link the network? Or is it only after you link the chiral network to a spot where that starts to populate in an area? Because with structures and everything, they don't come into play till after you link the network.
I'm pretty sure it's only after. I think the premise is that the feeling of community and people is only established when you extend the chiral network, extend that community into the region.
Yeah.
I do know that there have been times when I've gone to a place, hooked it up, and gone back, and it has been a significantly different path back than to. So I'm assuming that all of that stuff is that way. That would also even further exacerbate the feeling of when you're going off into the unknown, when you're going to some place disconnected, that like it's all on you to get there. Like you're on your own to get there. And then once it's synced up, you have the help of everyone to kind of like bring you into the fold at that point.
Yeah. That makes sense.
This particular gameplay thing is not it can't be intended.
In what sense?
If it's intended, it is fucking ridiculous. But I cannot tell you how many fucking times I have done like a minor to a moderate jump, or fall or whatever, and landed on both tires, and had not that. That's different.
Yeah, that's great timing.
But had like the entire bike like fucking fall apart because apparently the bike has no shocks whatsoever. Like it would be like a jump that you wouldn't even think about crashing, like would make your vehicle crash in almost any other game. But this game, you go like from here to here, just like blah, 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 and packages everywhere.
It's interesting that you bring that up because you ride the bike a lot more than I do. If I go into somewhere that it's not linked on the Cartwheel network, I would just like walk there for the first time. I feel like
why?
I feel like you kind of brute force it. I learned very early on that if I tried to brute force it like you're doing, it was a fucking frustrating mess. Like I wanted to break controllers very quickly early on.
How is it
that?
Dude, watching you do that. How is it brute forcing
you do this
to use a vehicle that they have provided for you?
Because that's the whole thing. Like the world is not designed for those vehicles to be used easily at the beginning. You have vehicles, sure, but that doesn't mean you have roads. It doesn't mean you have clear area. Watching you do this is pretty painful. Why? Because I spent hours doing the same thing before I realized you go 10 times faster. It's 10 times safer. When there's a bunch of rocks, ditch your vehicle.
Yeah.
Like, do you realize what you just said, Co?
I do realize what he just said, but I kind of agree. Also, Zeke, you can do wheelies to where if you just hold up right now, you could be going all over this on one wheel. And it would solve like so much of your stop and go issues.
No, I know that. I absolutely know like the whole like lean back and you can climb over shit. I absolutely know that.
And I didn't know that till like 15 hours in, and it changed the fucking game for me.
Yeah.
Jesus, you fell.
But that's the thing. Like that's the other thing that I hate is the tiniest pebble in the road will completely eat your momentum if you want to jump over shit.
That's why I don't get on that bike,
you go like
man.
this, and you go like, hit this little tiny thing, and then you're like, oh, I can't stop now. Gotta try the nope. Fuck you.
And dude, the worst part is like you're trying to get through an area quickly on the bike when there's stuff everywhere, and like you get that enemy scanner ping. So like there's enemies approaching you, and you're like Austin Powersing it between two things, trying to get out. Oh, dude, they're no question. The most frustrating times in that game are trying to use vehicles where they're not supposed to be used.
And I will admit to a sense of like I became obstinate against using anything but the bike because I knew after a certain point I knew what they were intending. I knew like, okay, you're supposed to do this like slower. You're supposed to do it with, you're not supposed to be taking the bike over mountains and shit. You're supposed to use your, just walk or climb and that kind of shit. But it came to a point where I was just like, no, fuck that. I am going to suffer through these fucking terrible bike controls, and I'm going to complain the whole way because it makes me feel like a big man.
I get it. That's one thing I will say about this game, regardless of how like are saying, oh, it hurts to watch. There's a lot of different ways to play this game, and none of them are particularly wrong. Because I feel like at the end of the day, they're still kind of getting across. And again, I fucking hate saying things like this. They're getting across what Kojima intended it to do, right? Like you had a hard time on the bike, and that's because you're supposed to have a hard time on the bike in like areas where it's supposed to be difficult. It's supposed to be an annoying, tedious fucking grind.
Look at you getting off of the motorcycle.
Well, yeah.
You're picking up.
I had to go pick up these fucking. All right.
Oh, by the way, that's something I didn't do. I never did it after the first hour.
Yeah.
I was not saying that Zeke is hard to watch on Twitch. I was saying it's hard for me to watch because I went through the same pain for hours. That's what I said.
Not just giving you shit, dude.
I can only imagine. To be fair, watching you having trouble is one of the most entertaining things on Twitch. I just want to make that clear. Like,
I'm trying to find the clip of the highway so I could just. Yeah, Zeke, I spent. Here's the reason why I haven't finished the game. I have this, and I think this is kind of why everyone might have something like this, but I think it's pretty extreme for me. I get sidetracked really easily in this game. I spent the better part of 6 to 7 hours building highways. Like literally just building highways, literally going from point A to point B, collecting ceramics, collecting metals, dropping off at a paver, getting a highway and saying like, looks pretty good. Let's go to the next one. Then I would just drive the truck a little bit further, see what I needed, drive all the way back, get that type of shit. Never even approaching the main story for the better part of, at this point, probably 15 to 20 hours. I don't know why. I could not tell you why. I enjoy it, and maybe that's why. But it's fucking weird.
I wasn't playing it on stream, I would be the exact same way. But the only way that this game could work business wise, streamer wise for me was the fact that I got a jump right when it released. Like I was ready to go right when it released.
Yeah.
I was keeping up with everybody for the first day and a half, and then I started slipping behind, and that's when I went, okay, this game, like I'm gonna have to put this game down. In favor of a different game, just because that's kind of the way my channel works or whatever.
Sure.
But that said, if I were not streaming this game, I would still probably be on like the first few maps doing all of the deliveries and all of that shit, because it's the mouse at the feeder bar. Like, another delivery done. Give me my food pellet. Where's my food pellet? Give it to me.
Yeah.
And I would totally be doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Talking about that stuff though, you're not the only one, JP. In fact, I found an entire game inside this game, and when I found it, everything became secondary to me accomplishing that game's objective.
Oh yeah, no, trust me. Chat told me all about your Zipline.
That game is Zipline Tycoon. I found Zipline Tycoon.
Yeah.
And once I found that, I kid you not, I learned there was a build limit in Death Stranding.
Yep. I hit that as well. Here's the interesting thing.
Hold on, build limit meaning what?
You can only have so many structures on a chiral
Every
network.
time you place down a custom structure, it contributes to a number, which is what is called your Kyrium level, your Kyrium network level.
Yeah.
So every structure has a different amount. Like a bridge is 1,000, a zipline's 500. And if you pause your game, in fact, you can see it while we're looking down here. Whenever you go to your map, there's a number across the top, number/of number. And now, if your number ever gets to that top one, then you can no longer build structures. However, cool tip.
Is it across the whole map, or is it across like
across
just
the entire game? Okay. Every structure you build across the entire game. But here's what's cool, and not a lot of people know this, and thanks, chat, for pointing this out. If you ever hit your limit, you can open up your map, and it doesn't matter where you are on the map. You can mouse over previous things you've built and dismantle them. So if you ever get to a point where you're hitting your limit, you can go back and, dismantle that power station you built just for you in the middle of nowhere, that bridge that nobody's really using. So you can like free up a lot of your network that way, and then you can keep building whatever you're building.
Yeah.
So I like the chat is like, it's because it's the USA and they throttle your bandwidth.
Yeah,
like you can't have that many. Like
Kojima speaks in metaphors, man. All right, he's just commenting on the structure of the networking in the North America. Yeah.
Because if this was in like Sweden or Norway, like the whole map would look like a spider web of zip lines.
You know what the funniest thing is? It looks like it's in fucking. How is this America? America doesn't look like this shit at all. That was the biggest thing for me. Whereas nothing looked similar to what it was supposed to actually be at all. Looked like we were in Finland or Sweden or some shit like that. Anyways.
Well, the thing that did this like really like stand out to any of you guys? Like the distance crossed while playing the game was like vastly exponential on the overmap than it was in actuality.
It's
hard to
do that.
I went
if you had open
Delaware
roads
to Wyoming in like
30
5 minutes of riding.
Yeah, it's hard to do that, I think.
Somebody said if you take all the open roads and all the highways are up, it takes less than half an hour to like get across the entire map. Upwards to an hour, like over the mountainous regions. But yeah, it's not a large area. They do a good job of making it feel large, especially at the beginning. What's even cooler is just like because of this stuff and people like JP and Dan and all these, the builders out there making this stuff, like it's pretty incredible how well the highways and stuff can make areas that took you an hour and a half to get across before. Like all of a sudden you're just zooming down the highway and it takes 5 minutes.
I can go from
like,
top.
Feels good.
I can go from the top of the map all the way to the bottom in like 3 minutes.
Are you seeing this? He's running on a road.
Well, hold on. That's because the reason I'm running on a road is because I had to take the materials you'll see that I'm going back to where the car was at the end of it. There's a
You don't have
reason
to
for it.
You don't have to justify it. I know
I'll
it's
justify it.
situational.
I like how Jason got
out.
legit defensive.
Yeah,
like, no, hold on.
Yeah, there's a reason for all this shit. One thing, here's a question I have for you guys and maybe for chat. Right here on this particular road, on this particular corner, there's a BT spawn. And also, if people haven't played the game, we should probably... BT spawns are kind of like one of the ways to initiate some sort of combat within the world that kind of happen. There's some story elements to it. It's not necessarily super important. But on that corner of that road, there's a BT that's on that mountain. And on another aspect of the road further south, I killed a BT that was close to the road, and it never respawned. Is that just luck, or is that because they have like predetermined spawns within their things?
Most
like a finite number of BTs.
Yeah.
The BT stuff is a lot of times related to the weather, and the weather has kind of like different levels. Talking about the weather can get a little spoiler because there's stuff in the game that. But yeah, the point is you could just be getting lucky.
Okay.
But there's also this is hard to talk. I can't really talk about this without spoiling. The short answer is maybe.
Spoiler it. Like, I don't really care too much.
Okay, there are events that can make it so if you run from the event, it can reset the area. In some cases, it'll even make like always BT areas. Like the weather will clear up temporarily. And I've heard that if you do that and then leave and then don't leave the map, like it won't come back.
Okay.
So if you spend a long time on a map and you happen to trigger that, then there's a chance that a normally BT area would then no longer be BT. But again, you have to get to a certain point in the story for this to even be a thing.
Right.
So,
because I fought I don't know how to describe it. The like lion-looking BT guy, whatever the fuck that guy is. I fought and killed him, but I reloaded right after that, and I think the game like was confused because it dropped all of the chiralium that those things drop, but then the BT area respawned like 20 minutes later. So I don't know if that was because I reloaded the game. I reloaded the game because a whole fucking string of nonsense occurred. I just wanted to start over from where I killed that thing. But yeah, I don't know if it reloaded because I reloaded or because it just does that randomly.
And it's important to mention, this is where it gets a little murky. I was looking actually for another bug when I found what I'm telling you about now. There's also a patch this morning that fixed the bug I had. So there's a chance that maybe that got fixed as well. The bug apparently has to do with sometimes BT areas come back, sometimes they don't. So, yeah.
Okay. I mean, we got the spoiler tag up.
You don't ever get to keep those trucks, right?
No, you can't put them in the garage. Maybe later in the game you can, but this is 40 hours in, so I don't know if you.
I know you can store them in a place and they stay there, but
yeah, like if you just leave them around the general. If you go into one of these and just leave them there, they're usually there. Right. So,
but there's no way to fix them up and like.
Not to my knowledge, no. Unless
not ones that you steal.
Okay, yeah. I'm sure there's bigger cars than later on in the game, but these are all the ones that I stole from the mule camps.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
The first time that happened, by the way, the first time I walked into a mule camp and was like, wait a minute, is that a truck? I walked over and got in it. And I just started running into the mules and knocking them out. It was so good.
Now,
it was so good.
Were you not like completely outraged when the very first time they're like, you're the delivery guy. You're our only hope. You're the one dude who can do this. And then they're like, go out and make this delivery. And you're walking by like in their parking lot. You're like, there's trucks.
Yeah,
like,
you can't get in them.
Fucking what? Can I not like no one else is using them? Can I just requisition one since I'm like the last best hope for this fucking humanity to unite America? No, I can't do this.
Yeah.
That pissed me the fuck off. It really did.
I mean, it didn't piss me off, but it was more just like, that's lame. Because like there's a car right there that I can actually get in, but I can't. Yeah. There's a lot of stuff in the game that is just like a little bit.
There's a lot of stuff contrived for gameplay.
Yeah.
And as you continue on, you'll kind of notice that more and more. There's a lot of things that are specifically exactly the way they are to either exacerbate or add to existing mechanics.
I think this thing right here, the entirety of this thing is probably my least favorite part of the game after you see the parts of it once. Like the fact that when you take a fucking shower, it plays 4 cutscenes you have to skip. 4 fucking cutscenes every fucking time.
This game
This
is
turd
begging
brought
for
to you
a
by Ride
Zoom?
with Norman Reedus. Ride Sundays on AMC. Ride by
Thank
Norman.
you. Thank you. Yeah.
But yeah, no. What this game really needs is it needs a like you pause it and it's resume skip.
Yes.
But anytime there's multiple back-to-back cutscenes, it should be resume skip skip all. Like and there's multiple times where there'll be like 3 to 5 cutscenes, like small back-to-back cutscenes of that stuff. By the way, this isn't really a spoiler, but just to let you know how bad it gets, you actually get to unlock a special bike that's the ride bike from Norman's show.
I figured as much.
And as you're riding on this bike, Norman Reedus is like, man, I really wish this bike could get featured on Ride with Norman Reedus on AMC. Like, he will actually say this as you're playing the game, driving around. And it's one of like, I think it's one of the only times I just got off my bike and reloaded my game. I was just like,
yeah, that's a little ridiculous.
Like, this is
Can
a bit
we
much.
can we real quick talk about like this skippable like cutscenes and stuff? Like, is it okay? Explain to me the necessity of having to hold down the button in your menu for certain actions, like when you hold down X to like confirm something, rather than just press it one time. Like it's a minor thing, but it became like really like just a little tiny annoyance every time that I had to like wait. And I know it's just like maybe 1.5 extra seconds, but every single time, like, can't you just like make it a different button? How about that? Like, do you like this? Confirm with circle rather than X or something like that.
Yes. I feel like that stuff is annoying, but over time I eventually just got used to it, which is, again, I shouldn't be making excuses for something that's annoying to begin with, but ultimately that's what happened. Like walking up to something, like the first time I saw those menus, you're just looking at them like, what? Like, none of this makes any sense. This is so fucking complicated for a system that shouldn't be complicated at all. And then 40 hours in, you're like, all right, this is actually this makes some sense.
Also, it becomes the Matrix. You're just like, all I see are blonde, redhead.
Yeah.
Like that kind of shit.
Sure. Yeah. What were we saying?
Like, oh, sorry.
I was saying that it completely it makes it so essentially you can't accidentally skip anything. So thank God you can't do that for every single thing. You can easily skip all like the pre-stuff, but it's like the big landing pages, the summary pages, they don't want you to accidentally skip those.
Yeah.
So at least that's my guess. So yeah, I mean honestly for me it was a little annoying at first, but I hate to say it, I've just come to expect it on consoles. Even PC games it's bled to these days. But yeah, it's frustrating. I agree. I don't like it either. I just wish you could turn it off. Just give us the option to turn it off, man.
Yeah,
if I would probably disable that in every single game it's in. I've never been a fan of the buttonhole mechanic for stuff. Never. So if I could turn it off, I'd do it in a heartbeat.
I mean, in essence, it gives developers like an extra button, right? Instead of a press, it's a hold. So you get 8 buttons out of 4. So
I will say this. A lot of times on this show, we have talked about the opposite of this. So I think it's important to acknowledge that this game does it really well. This game does an excellent job of not putting like buttons next to each other. So if you ever need to pick up cargo, that's triangle. If you need to punch somebody, that's always square. Like it makes it real. Like there's in a game like this when there's so much stuff you can do all over the game world. I kind of like that. I almost never did something by accident, or I never kind of got to the point where I was like, oh, how do I do this? Or let me just move the camera a little bit so I can get the square on the right thing. It was always just kind of like, oh, cool. Let me just hit that, hit that. So yeah, I mean, credit where it's due. That was pretty good in this game.
Yeah,
I had a minor problem when the over the shoulder shooting part.
Oh, we're gonna talk about that. We're going full on spoiler about that shit because fuck that part. That part is the worst part in the fucking game.
Oh, good. I'm not just bad and stupid.
No, it's
excellent.
A bad fucking thing.
Before we get to that though, like to Ko's point, that was the only time that in the game where I was like, "Don't punch, shoot! What are you doing?" Or "Don't punch, reload." Yeah. That's what it was. Don't punch, reload.
Were you playing? Quick check. Were all of you playing on hard?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Same.
Also, real quick, my dog is going crazy. I'll be right back.
Sure. No problem.
Okay.
Yeah. So, major spoiler for those. I know the spoiler screen is up. Major spoiler here because I know exactly the part that Zeke is frustrating because chat told me that you almost like quit the game at this part. The second boss fight where you go back to World War I or whatever was just the dumbest, poorly made encounter that I've seen in the game thus far. It was so annoying because I don't know, not necessarily the fight stuff at the end, where you have to fight Mads Mikkelsen and like shoot his little buddies. The stuff in the beginning is what frustrated me the most because things just happen that there's no, it doesn't slow down. It doesn't prompt you or anything. It just seems like it's there so that you will fail and have to do it again. There's no other reason for it to be. Yeah. Like you're just walking and all of a sudden a fucking tank splashes down and just kills you. I had zero warning that this was going to happen the first time it happened to me, and it just flat out killed me and like made me reload. And then the plane like swoops in and I got hit by that the first time. And it's just like, there's no other thing to prompt that except for a sound cue that maybe gives you like a second or two lead in. I hated that whole thing. And I don't know the story. I mean, I know somewhat of the story significance, so I can't really speak to it too much, but it just seemed like it could have been a cutscene. Like, there's a line in the first fight that you do where Troy Baker's character says something along the lines and breaks the fourth wall really hard, where it's like, this is what you've been waiting for, right? This is the moment that you wanted, a game over, and you're just like, really, dude? Like, you're really talking to the players that much that know what they want from a Kojima game and a Metal Gear Solid game that you're fucking, that type of shit was so ridiculous.
Honestly, like all I heard in my head after that.
You got it. Go ahead.
All I heard in my head after that was Raul Julia just going, game over.
Yeah,
like,
a little bit.
I think he could learn from Raul Julia as far as subtlety and like, a nod to the audience goes.
Yeah, it makes me think back to that idea that when he said he wanted to make a movie, how the fuck is he gonna he has to have, I feel like sometimes in this game he just didn't have an editor. Like no one actually gave him he was surrounded by yes men, and it's just like, oh no, that sounds great. Yeah, we'll have Del Toro say a line about how he loves beaches, but really we mean bitches, but we're gonna say beaches and just lean into the joke. It's like, come on, man. Like fucking stop.
Yeah, just like three people with their notepads out, like, genius, sir, genius. That was great, sir. Great idea, sir.
Yeah. That's real ridiculous. So don't wipe the smugness off your face. We know you beat the game already. Just say shit.
No. All I can think of is like, you guys haven't seen anything yet. Like everything you're talking about now, like, oh man. Oh wow.
Which is maybe a little annoying because it's not you, but the game, because like I put almost 50 hours into this game. And if I haven't seen nothing yet, as you say, then like, fuck you, Kojima. Dude, show me some shit.
Hold on. You put 50 out of the game, but like 20 hours into road building. Like, well, let's be fair.
But that is the game in a sense, to be fair as well.
But yeah, but that building roads is not going to reveal more story shit.
Sure. Yeah. Correct.
Yeah. Go ahead.
No, I was going to go somewhere else with it, but I didn't know where I was going yet. So.
No, that's exactly what I was going to do. Like, there has been a lot of like this first like half an hour of us talking about it has been a lot of us like shitting on it a little bit.
Well,
like pointing out things. I got a little loud here and there, but if I may move on to like the positives of the game.
1 second. I feel like that's by design. A lot of things in this game are there so you will hate it. So when you get things that are better, you appreciate how much better they are. Like that's the game in essence. The first 20 hours are designed to suck. Like they're designed to show you how bad it can be. And then the first time I saw a highway, it was like a fucking light bulb went off in my head. Like I have to build all these highways. This makes it so much easier. This is so much more of an enjoyable game. And so then I went and built highways for 20 hours. But yeah, I think that's by design. But speaking of some of the better stuff, yeah, go on, Zeke. Sorry.
I'm really glad that this game was able to be made, and probably the biggest reason for me is I hope it has a lot of commercial success and it opens the door for more is auteur the right word? I'm not sure, but like risk taking, weird, esoteric, surreal, absurd, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
I want to see more games with a that have those elements with a budget to back it up. And that's one of the things I absolutely loved about this game was that I was confused a big portion of the time, and I was totally fine with that.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a little like I don't know what to equate it to, like Lost, where they show you all these weird things and they tell you about these weird things, and then it takes them forever to explain like what's actually going on. But the best time you spend is when you're trying to like puzzle out like what do they mean by this? What does this like symbolize? Like that kind of shit. I absolutely love just doing those, like thinking about it after I'm done with the game, going, oh, what does the fetus represent? Why a fetus? Like why a beach? Why like this and that and the other thing? Like I absolutely love that aspect of the game. And I would be absolutely fine if they like didn't 100% explain most of it, just to let me like puzzle it out, because it like an old maxim about storytelling is it's the mystery that lasts, not the solution.
Yeah, I would say you brought up Lost. I think like storytelling in this game is very much Damien Lindelof, who's the writer of Lost and like Leftovers and now Watchmen. Like he does exactly what you're saying, where he introduces something fucking random, doesn't talk about it for a show or a season, and then goes back to it. And sometimes they just left the smoke monster, never explain that shit at all. But like they do a lot of that similar storytelling, and it is a very interesting way to tell a story for sure. And I think it's what they did in this game as well. There are some things where I wish that they would like we talked about in the beginning. They literally fucking smack you upside the head 1,000 times explaining something, and like introduce something very minor at the same time, and that probably doesn't get explained towards the end of the game or till the end of the game, and which is like, Cole, what was your playtime when you finished? 60 hours?
It said 73 hours, but I left it on overnight. I think it was about 60.
Okay, that's
hours.
probably where I'm.
I definitely spent some time doing some side stuff.
Yeah. So I don't know how I feel about 60 hours for like things that are introduced in the fucking beginning of the game to finally be explained. I wish that was a little bit more even keel throughout the system or throughout the entire game. But I mean, I'm still playing. I'm still gonna get to the end, which I never thought. 5 hours into the first 8 hours of this game, I think, are ultimately a bad game. It didn't actually start clicking until some of that other stuff came into play that I actually kind of got hooked. Like at the end of day one, I'm curious for you guys as well. Were you sold yet, or were you still just kind of like, what this game's fucking weird? Like I was definitely like, this game's weird. I don't know if I'm gonna finish.
Well, to talk about Zeke's mysterious thing, by the way, the original title for this game was actually Norman Reedus and the Mysterious Fetus. So I think that kind of plays into everything pretty well.
It's gonna be a Harry Potter follow-up, yeah.
It's true, yeah. True. But no, to talk about what you were talking about.
The funny thing is, I had to think about that. Like, it could have very well have been. Like, I was like,
is he joking with me?
20% of me was like, really? Was it? Dude, come on.
No, you're not wrong.
Yeah,
but
go ahead.
Here's the thing, and I made a thoughts video, a mostly spoiler-free thoughts video about this, and it ended up, like I say at the beginning, like this is going to be tough, and it ended up being probably my toughest thoughts video. It's like 7 minutes long, and I'm just trying to kind of like pause it through the experience. But I think the big thing that's interesting about this game is it becomes increasingly clear as you get towards the end that this game was designed as a total package. this game was not designed to be played for 10 hours. It wasn't designed to be played for 20 hours. Like by doing that, the vision doesn't become cogent in terms of like what it's trying to relay. Now here's the thing. Is that the right way to make a video game? I think that's the big argument. Like and this is what I go to in my video. Like a lot of people play games to escape. They play games to enjoy themselves. But in a lot of ways, Kojima is trying to elicit emotions that are the opposite of that. And for a lot of people, it's very uncomfortable to play a game that's like trying to not necessarily have you enjoy yourself. Like there's more going on. And this is where it becomes this kind of dichotomy between the artsy, you know, potentially pretentious people that are kind of like, oh, it's games as an art form. And the other side of the spectrum where it's like, I play games to have fun, and that's why I play games. So this game kind of falls in the middle, where it's kind of like and when I finished the game, I was kind of sitting there being like, I felt like this was more of an experience. I felt like this was more of me watching a movie and experiencing kind of like a work of art in the eyes of the person that made it, and much less of I just played this game to have a good time for the last X hours I played it. Like whenever I'm done with the game, I try to give people a value. I don't say like 5 out of 10 or 10 out of 10. I try to be like, okay, here's how much the game costs, and here's how many hours I played, and it turned out to about this much per hour, and I either feel this is a good value or not. It's really hard to do that with this game.
Yeah,
because
I can't recommend this
there
game.
were swaths of the game where I wasn't necessarily enjoying myself, but I knew that like that was just this part of the game, and that maybe it would make the rest of the game sweeter, or maybe the progression of going from where I was to where I ended up, maybe that was part of the journey. That's exactly what Kojima was trying to relay. So hard, man. It's like this is a very unique game when it comes to that kind of stuff. And I think it's one of the reasons that we see reviews all over the map, where we see, you know, relatively trusted reviewers be like, this is like a 6 or 7 out of 10 at best. While other reviewers we trust are like, this is a masterpiece, 10 of 10.
Right.
It's like, well, they're kind of both absolutely right. It just depends on how you're approaching the game as an artistic piece of emotional or artistic piece of an emotional journey, or a video game. So yeah, it puts us in kind of a weird position too.
Right.
I found that from the start of the game, like playing it the first like 4 or 5 hours or whatever, and then rethinking how I want to play the game. Like the first 4 hours, 5 hours, whatever, I was like, oh, maybe we'll pick up some packages like along the way and deliver them to this place and that place. And then when I rethought, I was like, I'm just gonna do the main line quest, and I'm gonna ignore the side quests. And once I started doing that, the time between doing the actual gameplay of it and the story progression was more palatable for me. I didn't feel tedious because I was doing like, you know, taking box A to point B or whatever like that. Yeah. It was do this one mission and then we'll give you some more story. Then do these 2 missions and then we'll give you some more story. And the progression like that felt a lot more like the flow connected better for me. And I found myself really enjoying the game after the first, 5 or 6 hours because of that. Because I ignored the tedious shit and just went I didn't speed through it. I just mainlined the story. Like I wasn't trying to rush the game, but I was definitely going this story time, this cutscene. Yeah, and it made it really good for me.
I think that maybe is a positive thing about the game is there is, in a weird way, there's multiple ways to approach it. Like you can do the quote tedious shit, which I will confess, it is tedious doing exactly what Ko's doing here, dropping these materials off to finish these roads. But every time I would drop those materials off and finish road, I'd get a shit ton of likes. And I was like, hey, this is not that bad. I'm getting a lot of meaningless points here. I would continue building those roads. But there have been times where it's like, all right, I'm just going to mainline story for the next, as long as I can before I get sidetracked by something random. And I definitely enjoyed that as well. I do want to go back though and go back to the yes or no answer without anything else, and maybe explain a little bit after that. Can you recommend this game? Yes or no? I say no.
No.
Can I have a mealy mouth answer and say like it depends on who I'm recommending it to?
I think that's ultimately is probably the real answer. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. It depends on who I'm recommending it to. If you have ever been to a small art house theater to see a foreign film, I would recommend this game.
See, me and Co have never done that, but yeah, I'd still recommend.
Hey, speak for yourself, Big
Co. You've never been to an art house.
No, but I actually completely.
It's because your capacity to accept the weird, the sort of hard to understand, the absurd, the whatever. Like your capacity is greater if you can.
I don't think
find enjoyment and stuff like that.
Maybe I think there's something important though. Most people that I've seen, most streamers that I've seen play this game, have generally enjoyed it across the board. And I think it's because as streamers, we play so many games that are so similar that this is so unique and so different that it was kind of like a refreshing thing to play. And I've seen a lot of people echo that same thought. It's not an original thought at all. But I definitely feel that it's an odd game for a streamer to talk about because being that it's so different from everything else that we play, we enjoy it for that aspect because it's not the same thing we've been doing for years. It's not an FPS game or we're shooting something, or it's not an RPG where we're just selecting, a dialogue choice and seeing how it plays out. It's a fucking delivery simulator game, which inherently has likes, which is kind of the core of streaming to begin with. Like, it's really weird.
I kind of equate it to if there's a specific genre or type of movie that you don't normally like, it's kind of like if you're willing to experience something that's completely outside of your normal comfort zone. I think that's if you're more of like an experimental in that way, do you mind if your game has a message if it sacrifices the fun you're going to have in it? Do you mind if your game makes you think if you're not necessarily enjoying yourself the entire way to get there? It's a different type of game. I think the most people will say, no, I play games as escapism. I play games to have fun, to get immersed and lost in them. So I think for that type of thing, it's kind of like, well, there's a lot of times in this game, it's going to slap you across the face with boring, repetitive stuff, specifically to make you feel that way. So maybe not. But if you're the kind of person that wouldn't mind sacrificing some of what you expect, if you don't mind having your expectations of gaming kind of turned on their head a little bit in an effort to deliver something unique, then those are the people I'd recommend this game to. Again, it all comes down to the word artsy. The game is artsy. Like it's definitely designed to pull emotions out of this medium that aren't normally there. It's a very kind of artsy perspective based experience.
I don't know if I agree with that. The word artsy specifically.
I think so.
Well, coming from the experience of having played like all kinds of different like indie games and stuff like that with different kinds of storylines that are risk taking or non-linear, whatever you want to call it. This feels a lot like one of those games with like a gajillion dollars thrown at it. It really does, because I can't like it, there have been many times in the past where I've played an indie game and I've probably reviewed it here on Drop Frames and when like, man, if this dev team or this developer had a gajillion dollars, I would love to see what they come up with. And this feels like that.
Yeah, I can see that. I also wonder, like, it's funny, I keep pulling up clips of us at random from VODs and it's all doing the same fucking thing. Because I don't want to show any of the story stuff. I really wish, or I really hope that there's like a documentary or something that PlayStation decided to fund and they haven't said anything about. I would love to see the intro elevator pitch for this game to see how much of this bullshit was there at day one and how much of the fact it was like added on at day 70 or day 180 or like when all of this stuff actually came into Kojima's mind. Like was it all laid out from the very beginning, or was it like, how can we make that make sense? I want to have a BB that he somehow connects up to his suit, but what does that mean? I don't know. 2 years later, I've got it. Like, what does it actually look like in his brain? I would love to see that type of shit.
Well, the elevator pitch for this game could go like there's only a handful of like games or elevator pitches that could go this way. Kojima. Like, oh yes.
By the way,
there it is.
Do you think that carries that much weight? Maybe?
There's a few
hell yeah.
like, I mean, yeah, like he is like gaming messiah like status like that, and I think there's probably only like 4 or 5 people in this like our world that could get that kind of like Ken Levine and like, here's money.
Yeah,
dude, I shouted Kojima's name numerous times during the last 3 hours. I kid you not, like some kind of jilted lover. It was ridiculous. Also, by the way, everything you just said, JP, about wanting to get into his head, I really hope Danny O'Dwyer gets wind of that.
Yeah, that would be killer. Yeah, for sure.
I would love to see a Death Stranding no clip, like where he just kind of like has a chance to sit down with some of the actors and people that are in it, and like, let's freaking talk about this. Like, yeah, that'd be awesome.
I mean, this is less the game and more just like some of these weird media things that they used to promote it. But seeing like the fuck, now I'm blanking on his name. These like prolific film directors and like the actors in the game all talk about this thing as like some monumental tour de force, like watershed moment in media. And then seeing some of these fucking like poorly written dog shit cutscenes, I'm just like, did you actually see this game? Like, what are you talking about here?
I love artwork or mediums like an example in the medium that is like that. Like Boondock Saints is one of those. Like,
yeah,
I think like there are people who absolutely love it. I absolutely think it's trash, trite, bullshit, awful. And that's the thing. It's like people will look at this and go, genius. I don't know. It's amazing. And then people would be like, that's garbage, dude. That's fucking terrible.
I think to be.
Wait, you thought Boondock Saints was a trash, terrible, horrible movie?
Who's Zeke?
Let's not talk about it.
Oh.
I don't want to go into it.
Oh, what? Oh, I didn't. You think it's a bad movie? Hold on, we got to get the answer to this as well.
I don't want to talk about it because that's what happens.
Wow.
That's what happens.
Wow. I think.
You know what else is bad? Fifth Element. Fight me. Fifth Element is terribly written and terribly acted. Fight me.
That one you might have some ground on.
See what I
I'm
mean?
not saying it's. I'm not fully in agreement with you, but it's maybe not as beloved in my mind as it is for a lot of other people. I was gonna say I should be clear that maybe I'll think completely differently when I finish this game, but for me the world is unbelievably interesting. The story that they're telling is just like Kojima farted into a bucket and is just sniffing it for the past 30 hours that I've played. And I'm really curious to see what else he does inside that bucket in the last 30 hours.
And those 3 people following him, he's like passing around, they're like, "Whoa, yes, sir. This is like,
I mean,
do you guys smell Downy? It smells like a dryer sheet."
Dude, like, we're in spoiler territory here. Zeke, this might be something that maybe you haven't seen yet, but like when Del Toro pulls the guy inside of the shower to have a conversation, that I was almost, that's another moment where I just almost walked away from the game. It was so ridiculous. And from people in chat and multiple people that have finished the game, I've heard that only gets crazier and more ridiculous. So I'm probably going to have a couple walkout moments again as I get further on in the story. But yeah, there's really weird stuff in this game that is almost too much.
Dude, I completely agree.
Yeah.
I threw my controller at one point.
Yeah.
It just got so stupidly like pandering and ludicrous that like I just tossed it aside and I was like, man, like, come on, dude. Like, Seriously. Like, yeah, I can't wait for you two to finish this so we can talk about it.
Yeah, and I'm gonna try to finish it, but
yeah,
I mean, I will finish it, but I just don't know how fast.
Man. Zeke, are you planning on finishing it?
Yes.
Off stream though, yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
You should have finished, Zeke. Maybe you should just like when you know you're towards the end, just stream the ending of you. I think people would probably want to see your reactions to it.
Okay.
Even if it's not like, I think less people would be interested in watching you do this type of shit because this is what everyone else is streaming. But reactions to the end are probably pretty enticing to get viewers there. So I would say, if not for only me, and go and drop frames, do it for everyone else as well. So, yeah, I don't know what else to talk about. It's such a fucking weird game to talk about on so many different levels. I think one thing that most people will universally agree on, the music in this game is really fucking good. And whenever it clicks on, it fits most things that you're doing, unless you're doing this. Because I don't know if this like weird low tempo, whatever the fuck you call it, ambiance music is gonna fit riding around on a bike jumping off cliffs, but it does most other scenes for sure. I really enjoyed it so far.
I love how whenever you fall off, you're just like, screw it, reloading.
Yeah.
I could never play like that.
That's one of those obstinate things where it was like, I'm gonna make this jump. Then you make the first jump, and there's two more, and you're like, I missed the second one.
Dude.
All right, I missed the first one again, reload. Okay, I got the second one, third one got me, reload again. Because I just wanted to make those jumps because the jumping is imprecise. And normally I would say like, oh, I get it, because you have to like rear up and and jump the bike.
Of it makes sense.
But that's absolutely not the case, or should not be the case for this, because the bike has floaty jets or something. Because it goes. So you shouldn't need to pull it up. The jet should just go.
Yeah, I don't. That's
anyway,
why I don't get
anyway.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me just say this really quick. Honestly, real quick. I am enjoying the fuck out of the game.
Okay.
I like the game.
I think we all
really do.
Right? Like, can we all say, Zeke or Co, is that same as you? You really enjoyed it?
Oh, yeah. After experiencing the ending, like the only thing I could tweet out about it, I said my tweet was one line. It was Death Stranding is a beautiful game.
Okay.
Yeah, like it is story setting characters 11 of 10. Like, especially once you get like the whole picture. Like it is everything I expected from Kojima. Which is a lot, because I had some pretty lofty things from it. Also, by the way, can we talk about how the band Low Roar?
Yeah.
For the longest time, somebody trolled me in chat, and I thought they were serious. That Low Roar was Tom York's new band from Radiohead.
It does sound a lot like Radiohead.
It got to the point where it was like, oh, this is pretty cool. And then they're like, dude, it's not actually Tom York. And I was like, oh, so this is like what budget Radiohead? Like what?
Yeah. If someone told me that, okay, that makes a lot of sense.
I seriously was like,
like Tom York, dude.
Tom York. I haven't heard him for a while. Great. That's awesome.
Yeah.
There was actually a point in the stream when one of their, like, a new song came on, and I was singing something to the effect of like, we're not Radiohead. We promise we just sound a lot like them.
Oh, wait, nice jump, dude.
Hold on. That's not
that was the blast up that you were talking about, right?
I've never seen that blast off.
And then went up.
I thought you were just making shit up. How do you just jump mid jump?
Perfect time. Yep.
Oh God.
Yep.
Now I'm gonna
you have to way press the button early.
Because
like I made the mistake of not pressing the button early enough too many times, but you press the button way early. And if you press the button at any time when you lose momentum forward by hitting a pebble on the ground, you fucking fail.
Huh. Because I've done the double jumps just when you're walking around on foot. I guess I need to get on more motorcycles than normal. This whole area, the second I missed that jump the first time, I never got on a bike until I cleared out all the mules. Because it was just such an annoyance when they would roll up in their fucking truck and just sit there and like pelt you, and it's frustrating.
I will say how satisfying it was to like fucking run over those guys. See, you're seeing,
yeah.
You were experiencing the time when I actually like.
You're nailing it.
I think I might have nailed all the jumps.
Yeah.
Perhaps.
There's the third one.
Let's find out. Let's see if nope, a little bit. Nope. I hit a little like 2-inch like outcropping.
Yeah.
And it ate all my momentum, because little did you know that if you were going, say, 30, 35 miles per hour on a motorcycle, if you hit a little pebble, you stop dead. Like, your momentum is done. It's dead.
That's true. Pebbles are the worst, yeah.
But you don't fly off or anything. It's just you stop.
Which I think is interesting because of all the things that could happen to that bike, it's Kojima finding the one thing that's going to annoy the player the most, which is momentum stopping and making that the way that it operates. Because that's like, if it was falling off, it would be comical. There would be laughter associated with it, be fun. But no, he's just going to make it where literally your bike just stops. And same thing is like when you run into the BTs and your bike becomes unpowered. That's even more, that is the real, for me, the first time that happened when I was trying to like brute force my way through a BT camp on a bike. And I just got like, it dead stopped, and then the fucking tar shit comes up. I was so upset. I was like almost quitting the game at that point. This is like in the first 8 hours or so. But yeah, it's all he made all those decisions purposefully. And if you can get past them, it might be worth playing. But
I'd imagine that the next Last Week in Zeke highlight video, shout out to Scott Evans who makes those for me every week, might just be like me fucking up on the bike and complaining about it.
Yeah. I mean,
I'd imagine.
Fun. It's a lot of fun to watch. I think at least where I'm at in the game and where Ko was at in the game, when I was watching him like 2 days ago or something, we just don't use bikes anymore, and we just ride around on zip lines. Like, I have
zipline life
forever.
Do you have to be in a high spot to use the zipline, like gravity wise?
No, here, let me show you. Well, I'll find some.
Because I never used one.
Let me find some footage. Go ahead, Ko.
Okay.
Answer that if you want.
Well, yeah, zip lines are basically they are self-accelerating, so you can go from any direction to any direction. The only limitation is 300 meters for rank 1, 350 for rank 2, and then I think rank 3 goes up even more. And you can just daisy chain them as well. So like one of the things I did is there's a particularly nasty region later in the game that's not very large, but has very rough terrain. So I basically spent like 5 hours setting up zip lines between every single location on that map.
Yeah,
and then literally I could just walk out the door and jump on the closest zip line. And at that point, I was on a zip line network to every other major place in the area.
And it's honestly easier than roads. I think they deteriorate faster. Ko, do you know if that's true than roads?
I'm not sure.
Okay, because in this particular area,
deteriorate faster than resource-driven structures. So yes, okay. I think that's accurate.
Because there's a lot of like snowfall bullshit in this area, which is a whole.
Is this a zip line that you created, JP?
I made, I think, all but 2 of these. 2 of them were already laid down by other players.
So you have to actually travel up to the point.
Yep, and drop it
to make them.
It takes a PCM
However,
level 2 to drop it.
What you can do, especially once you link an area, is the first thing you do is open a map, and you will see like random other players' zipline locations. And then based on where those are, you can then start like sketching out, okay, I'll need one here, I'll need one here, I'll need one here, and you can kind of like plan out a network.
Never saw one.
You do need to be at a certain point in the game.
Yeah, they don't unlock till later on in the game. Have you gone to the west of the main area, or the area where you were riding around the bike that we saw the footage of in the mountains yet? Are you up there?
I got to like the Rocky Mountain line, like Wyoming, Colorado, like
you should be close
to that
then.
Area of America.
Yeah,
no, I got the zip line ability. Like they showed it to me, but I guess maybe I haven't played enough yet with that. Like it might be just the point at where I stopped because I've not even seen it like the goalpost zip line thing.
Yeah, it sounds like
up to ever. So
it sounds like it. Like this whole area has highways, but I said, fuck it, I'm not going to lay down highways and just because you'll see right here, I zip line from here all the way into the mountains.
This definitely would be something that would get you likes from me because I would use it and not build my own.
So I want to talk about the like system for 1 second because I have questions about it. Ko, when you put down all of your zip lines, you got a shit ton of likes initially, but then they stopped, right? Or did they keep going?
I exactly like you said. I tend like some of them would get almost none, but then some in like good locations would get huge amounts. Like I had a few zip lines I think that were way past the 1,000. But then I had a few other zip lines that were like 50 to 100, and like they would just always stay that way. It was really weird when I go between my network because some would have like huge amounts of likes and then others would have barely none. So the thing is, though, it's important to mention that I'm pretty sure after playing the game as long as I have that you never get multiple player structures. You only get like one structure per player. So I think they did that specifically so you can't like get to an area and like find Ko's zipline network.
Yeah.
Because then you could just zoom around on my network. So because of that, it makes multi-structure building, especially with ziplines, a lot more tumultuous.
That makes sense.
It may even go as far as that you can only have one structure per player in your world. So but again, I'm really not sure how that works. That's one thing that I tried to kind of puzzle out throughout the entire course of the game, and I couldn't really figure it out. I also couldn't figure out a way to play with your friend's structure. Like there doesn't seem to be any way.
That's the Strand contract shit. Did you mess around with that? Because
no, not at all.
The way that I understand it, you can't type someone's name in. Like I can't search for whatever your PSN ID is. But if I happen upon your structure, it will then come up in that feed to where then I can go make a Strand connection or whatever the fuck it is. And then I think that means that there's more likely of a chance of finding your structures or your packages in my game. Because with that Strand connection shit, every time you you get some level ups and all that stuff, you get more Strand connections. And I'll just go and look down the list, and anyone with more than like 50 or 60,000 likes, I'll add them as Strand connections. And then I've gotten more structures that are beneficial into the game.
I should have explored that more. To be blunt, I really didn't look into that at all. I thought
they
that
don't
was
explain it.
I thought that tied into the system where you could like take other people's packages and like leave cargo. Like all of that was really kind of confusing and weird because it sounded like
it's a little
essentially hours of work for very little benefit. Like I couldn't. Yeah, it was. I wish it would have been explained a little bit better, or I would have dug in a little bit deeper.
I mean, there's a lot of stuff. Like for me, the mail system. I don't think I've read mail since like 10 hours into the game, and I'm pretty sure I'm missing out on so much story and so many different random aspects of like.
Tip for anyone starting: don't necessarily read all the emails. Make sure they are flagged as read because sometimes it will progress email chains with people. And most importantly, if you ever get a yellow title email or email with yellow text in it, read it. Because a lot of times it will tell you things about the game that the game may not tell you in any other way. Especially, I'm not going to spoil it, but especially towards the end of the game, there's some really cool stuff. It gives you some very fun insight on some characters that you will never find out unless you read those emails. And even in some cases, go to where the yellow text tells you in the game world.
I have seen a couple of mentions of that. There is one with I'm blanking on it's one of the first fucking things you do in the game. When you go to the burning place, my mind is just dead right now from Death Stranding. Super spoilers for the first hour of the game, where you take the president with their body to burn it. I saw a mail thing. Yeah, the incinerator. Thank you, Christ. Where I saw like a mail thing that was yellow text that said like they saw some lights or something like that near the incinerator. And I like thought, I wonder if there's anything going on there, if that's just like bullshit to go do some random mission. But does it actually lead to something,
yes,
valuable?
They're almost, from what I've seen, they're almost all like Easter eggs, or in some cases, those emails will lead you to side characters or cameos.
Yeah.
So for instance, I don't want to say his name because I didn't know he was in the game, even though he probably was rather well known, but I definitely came upon a character by chance and was like, oh my God, is that really blah, 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 blah? And I was like, yeah. So,
yeah.
And I got a hint in an email earlier about visiting that place. Another thing to mention, by the way, if you open up your map, you can tap the right stick, press it down like a click to go through different modes on the maps.
Right.
And what will happen is a lot of time you'll notice like a puzzle, there will be missing pieces of areas that you haven't added to the chiral network. Here's where it gets weird. There are many areas in this game that are optional,
right,
that the main story will never take you to. So what you can do is if you go around those areas and you can hold the left button to bring up your compass, and sometimes you can see them and sometimes you can ping them too. but a lot of times there will be lost cargo to those places all around those dark sections. And if you bring them their lost cargo, then they'll sync up to your network. You'll get more building Chiralium
Oh,
stuff.
see,
You'll
I
be able to
didn't.
see the structures. So it's super beneficial. Anytime you're about to leave an area, hit that R3, make sure there's no big gaps. And if there are, 9 times out of 10, there's a structure in there you've missed. So a lot of times those locations are where the cameos are. You can get really good upgrades in some of those cases. In one of them, you unlock an entire mechanic that I can see right now you don't have yet.
In
There's
the
a good
early
chance
game,
you've already passed it.
I unlocked every area on the right-hand side of the map. I have not unlocked every area in this part of the map.
Also, getting certain people to certain levels of stars will unlock, in some cases, like really cool, interesting things.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, I
Um,
got the Chiralium boots. For me, is like one of the best things in the fucking game. Did you get that from the? Oh god, the painter's mom or something like that.
no, I never got those.
If you just get her to like a rank up, they give you Chiralium boots, and those boots have lasted me for 15 hours without having to replace them. And
Wow,
anytime you get a delivery, she gives you a new pair. So it's just like,
that's awesome. I didn't even know that existed.
yeah, just boots that like
Um,
never wear out, basically.
Funny
so
thing
I
is, my boots never wear out because I take my motorcycle everywhere.
yeah,
I mean,
how
I
many
get that.
bikes have you left stranded out in the wilderness?
Yeah, you're the reason why I just happen upon so many bikes out there in the
Yeah, I know, right?
wilderness. Pop around the corner, huh? There's a bike there. I wonder what that's doing.
Nah. Listen, I plan my routes according to the little power stations that people have left for me. So I'm like,
Oh,
Okay,
I take routes like this because of the power stations.
I get it. I
so
understand.
I can tell you real quick. There if you guys want, like, this is a little spoilery, but I can tell you 2 upgrades that both of you have probably missed because I missed one of them, and just to give you an idea about what I'm talking about.
Sure, yeah, it doesn't matter to
Okay,
me.
here we go. You okay with this? It might be a little spoilery. So here we go.
Good.
The first one, backpack customization.
I heard about this.
What
I never saw where it's
what
at.
this does is it allows you to load the very back of your backpack with an extra battery, so you just get more energy, or a plethora of grenade packs, which then are basically free grenades you can hold on your
Huh.
person.
Where is
On
that
top of
from?
that, later you get a stabilize. Well, that's all you need to know for now. And then the other
I've heard
thing,
about the
and this
stabilizer, yeah.
this was what bugged for me. There was a bug. There's a guy at the very beginning of the game called the Collector,
Yep.
and for me, he bugged under 2 stars.
Yep.
But if you get him to 2 stars, I kid you not, he gives you a cover for your backpack to prevent timefall damage to your cargo.
Wow. That's actually fucking huge.
Right?
What
Now
the
the
fuck?
thing itself can degrade.
Degrade, yeah.
So you need to be constantly like replacing that apparently. But
God
this
damn it.
little guy at the beginning that's totally missable
I
if you
have
want
the
to. It's
Collector.
bugged in my game, so I couldn't even do it. Yeah.
How
And,
do you
like,
get him
it's a
past 2
cool feature
stars?
thing and everything. You get like this cool silver cover for your car. Like, it's awesome.
How do you get him
What's
past
funny
2
is I went
stars?
around and looked at other streamers and like nobody had it.
Well, how do you get him past 2 stars? Is it legitimately
Just
a
not true
bug?
deliveries. The way that you get their stars up is either you have your mobile delivery guys deliver stuff to them, you take them stuff, not go to them and take stuff from them. You have to take stuff to them. Or one of the best ways that you lost cargo will also do it.
Sure.
And then if you go to the person, and they ever have missions to go off and recover something like from the mules and bring it back, those will also work.
Right. No, I understand those mechanics. I'm saying, how did you get
That's
the
it.
bug to fix? Because I'm
Oh,
at
the
2
bug.
stars as
The
well.
update.
Oh, the update fixed it. Okay, I'm
The
gonna go do
update
that
fixed
like today then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the update fixed it. So for
Fuck.
me, what happened is I got to like a fraction under 2 stars, and then I spent like an hour and a half doing like 6 to 8 missions, like
Oh, and
all
it didn't
different
do
types.
anything. Fuck.
Lost cargo, deliveries. I was just going places to get missions to him. And the worst part is I had the same bug on a place later in the game that essentially like connects the game's 2 major regions. So like the one little region that could have fused my global Zipline network,
Yeah.
I could never power because I couldn't get him enough stars to actually want to be part of the chiral network.
Oh boy.
It was so frustrating, man.
Yeah.
For those saying, wonder what they give you at 5 stars. Almost every location
You get a
has 5
star.
star.
Yeah. Like what does that star do? I jumped the gun there, but what does it do? Do you know what it
The
does?
stars are essentially your rank of connection with that person. most places unlock either cosmetics items or levels of items as you move through the stars. You get them by completing deliveries and such. And then almost all, again, a little bit spoilery, almost all locations at 5 ranks then let you rest there when you normally wouldn't be able to.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was saying, because whenever I get to level 5, they give you a star on your pants. I was wondering what the significance of that was.
Not related.
Okay.
The stars we're talking about is whenever you go to a location, in the profile picture, you'll see stars in the top left above their name.
Right.
Those are the stars that fill in. That's it.
Okay. So the star that you get on your pants for getting 5 stars with someone is meaningless. It's just a little thing.
I don't even know if I got that, to be honest.
Well, if you got some of them to 5 stars, they give you a star and it goes on your left pant leg or some shit. I think I
got like some keychains and backpack danglies, but I don't know if I got one on my leg. Maybe I did. I don't know.
Maybe it's just
you get little cosmetic items for getting stars with some people. So.
Yeah, it might just be cosmetic bullshit. Yeah.
Okay. Apparently that is. Okay. Chad is saying I did get one. I didn't get many of them.
There's a billion cutscenes in the game. It doesn't. Yeah. It's fine if you miss.
If you get all 50, that's how you bring the flag back. Merc.
I am curious. I don't know if it's been done yet, but I am curious if anyone's planning on 100%ing this, and if there's going to be like an extra cutscene or something that like.
About that too.
Let me ask you this and try to answer it in the most non-spoilery way possible. Is everything answered at the end of the game?
Very large question, JP.
I know but what I'm saying is, would there be room for like a secret thing?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yes. I will say this. There is a huge amount of information at the end of the game.
Oh, they just dump everything at the end?
There's a large amount of very good, meaningful information at the end of the game. However, it gets so complex, just like most Kojima stuff, where it's just like, I'm sure that I was told directly answers to some of the questions I had at the end at some point in the game, and I just missed it.
Yeah.
It's also important to mention that the interviews have a lot of good information in them, and by the end of the game, you get like 50 of those, and some of them have like unique information in them. The emails sometimes have information in them as well.
Those are just giant walls of text, man. I don't.
Yeah, this is the guy, by the way.
Yeah, the collector. Yeah, he's the one that So I think that's the head or the editor-in-chief of Famitsu magazine, which is a Japanese like publication, like the biggest one. Apparently that was a lot of drama.
In Japan.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. A lot of people are upset that they had like the head of a big game review group in the game itself.
Well, it's not even so much that. It's the fact that his magazine gave him a perfect 10.
Yeah, exactly. A little bit weird, right? Like maybe you should have. Well, whatever. That's
maybe we shouldn't have done it.
That's the whole thing. So, yeah, that's Death Stranding. I'm sure we'll do like a full-on spoiler cast. Do you think you'll have it finished?
I have some things I'd love to talk to both of you about when you're done.
Do you think you'll have it done by next week, Zeke?
I'm gonna say probably not, but I don't know.
Okay.
No rush. It could be 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month from now.
I mean, it might come up in Game of the Year discussions as well. I am curious, and I have to ask this without spoiling how many chapters there are, because that could be a big spoiler. I'm in chapter 6, towards the end of it. How fast can I speed through towards the end? Because I know that there's a lot of chapters. I looked up the number myself, and it was like being punched in the gut with how much I actually have to play.
I will say that the earlier chapters are significantly longer than the later ones.
Okay.
There gets a point when the story gets kind of hard and heavy.
Sure.
Where a lot of very important things start happening. In fact, I do remember that there were so many interesting things happening at one point that it literally made me frustrated about the earlier pacing in the game. Where I literally said out loud, if Kojima had made the game like the last 3 hours, nobody would be complaining about scores. Like everyone would be giving it 10. Like it gets to a point where it's definitely like just like action phase, big fight, hugely important cutscene, action phase, and it's just like holy shit! Like it really picks up. But yeah, it's there are long chapters, and see the thing is though, and I want to be so careful how I say this. Like just don't rush this, especially as you get closer to the end. Like,
sure,
don't try to rush it. Like, it's so worth not rushing.
Knowing, or at least knowing what you've seen, how I play the game with how I build all this bullshit. Do I have more of that in store, or can I just mainline the game? The story.
You've already done a lot of the open parts, I'd say. Like you know, if you've got good gear, if you've got some good networks set up, if you're making good time, you can definitely kind of focus the main story.
Okay.
Just, you know, if they giving little hints about what to do, or especially in sections that like have a lot of combat and stuff, like don't try to rush those parts, because it'll just frustrate you.
Yeah.
Like there was definitely a part towards the end where I was saying on the stream, like, hey, I just want to get to the story. I don't want to do this other stuff. I like, just get me to the story elements.
That's where I'm kind of at.
It ended up frustrating me a lot more than I should have been.
Sure.
So
yeah, see, just
I don't want to see
degrees of how long it takes you to get to that point. Like it took me like 5-6 hours, and I was like, I'll just do, like, I don't need any of this side shit anymore.
Let me be fully transparent here. The reason why I'm wanting to finish the game is not because I'm done with the game. It's because there's another game that's coming out tomorrow that I'll have access to play that I want to play as well. So I'm gonna have to start juggling these games, which I don't like doing, because usually what happens is I'll put a game down and I'll never finish it, like what happened with Fire Emblem. And I don't want that to happen with Death Stranding. Like, I want to see this through to the end, because it would piss me off to put in 40 hours into this game and not see how it ends, because I have so many questions that I want answered. So yeah, I think that's it on Death Stranding for at least a week. It's one of those games where I think the first thing you want to do after playing it for 5-10 hours is immediately talk about it with someone. And so the fact that I had to wait a week to like fully get my thoughts out there, because I just didn't want to put out if I liked the game or not, because that was such a huge, I don't know about you guys, but the top 3 questions I got while streaming this game: what chapter? Do you like the game? Stare at his penis. Look at his penis. Just nonstop. I just got that all fucking day. Hey, did you look at his dick? Did you see his dick? Go look at it. He's good. You should look at his dick.
Has Zeke looked at his crotch yet?
Yeah.
Has Zeke done that? Has Zeke done that? Like,
yeah.
Every time I was in that rest area, every single time without fail, to the point of
all the time.
Here's the perfunctory. Before you ask, here we go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Just get it out of the way.
Yeah.
I never, Cody, did you ever walk around without boots and go into the private locker? Did you ever do that? I didn't know this was, I was watching Max play, and I think it was Gas Mexican. It was one of the earlier missions, and I don't think he was wearing boots for some reason. And he walked into the private locker and looked down at his feet, and they were all bloody. And so then Norman Reedus puts his foot up on the table and rips off his big toenail in like full detail. They don't cut away from he goes like, fuck. And he just rips off his big toenail. And I've never walked around without boots. So I wonder what else I'm missing in terms of those different cutscenes. There's a couple where like the baby will smash the glass. There's one where you get like pulled underneath the bed. I haven't seen any weird ones with the shower yet, except for that fucking stupid cutscene with Del Toro's character.
Ride, too.
Yeah, and also the ride stuff. Yeah, that didn't bother me so much. I don't. That bothered some people, but it was just
the monster stuff bothered me a little bit.
Yeah, I feel like we should touch on that a little bit.
Yeah,
I hated that.
Here's the thing. The reason why it didn't bother me as much is because that's a lot of Japanese games. Like we talked about. I talked about it a little bit on Court of Swords, but
yeah,
if you play through the Yakuza series and that kind of stuff, like it's less noticeable because they're Japanese brands, but they are blatant with their product placement, like Boss Coffee, Rainbow Coffee, like all that kind of shit that's in the the Yakuza throughout the entire series is blatant in your face. But you kind of, if you don't live in Japan and don't know these brands, like it doesn't like phase you because you're like, oh, they're just whatever. But no, they're real brands. It's just like Monster is a
global brand,
more globally recognized brand. So it seems like it's in your face and out of nowhere, but this is like traditional thing like that happens with Japanese games.
Okay. Here's the thing. It's one thing to put a product in your game like Yakuza does, for instance. Sometimes they even joke about it. They're self-deprecating about it. Like, it's a joke. It's just, something that's there. But when your entire game is based around stamina and you get a 25% bonus for drinking the sponsored item 3 times in a fucking row, and each time it shows the main character in like an elongated cutscene drinking it and enjoy, like there has to be a point when you're saying it's too much. Like that, I really dislike that. I was like, cool, have Monster Energy, and that's fine. But it's kind of like the only thing he drinks, and you have to drink it 3 effing times to get a bonus. Like, come on, man! Like that's dumb.
My favorite
too much.
My favorite part is when you upgrade the canteen and it turns green. Did you get the canteen upgrade where it goes green like Monster? It's so stupid. That stuff didn't bother me.
Like I loved you can do
more, but
spoilers again, but you can do a quest later where you deliver beer. Yeah. And after you deliver the beer, all the monster becomes beer. And I was like, okay, see, that's awesome. Yep, like if that quest would have been like in the first hour or two, I would have been like, oh, okay, awesome, that's cool. But that was like 10 hours into the game or something.
Is it just generic beer, or is it?
I don't
beer
think it's branded. I don't know.
I don't think it's branded. I think it's like called Timefall Ale or something. Like it's some
it's from the wind farm area, Zeke. I don't know if you've gotten there yet.
Yeah.
Okay. It's down there. There's like an option.
I like how chat's like, come on, Ko, just unleash the beast. God damn it, dude.
Let me ask you this though. What if Monster helped pay for the game in some sense? Like what if that went towards development cost?
Okay, here's the next question. Would it have been less of a game without Monster?
That's what I'm at. Well, no, it wouldn't have mattered.
That's my question. If it's the kind of thing where
you're saying
we would not have gotten the full vision without it, that's cool. But if it's the difference between us getting a full game and us getting a full game with Kojima with a lightning green yacht with Unleash the Beast down the side, like that's where it's kind of like,
what? I mean, you can put on a 10.
But I wondered that myself. Like maybe it's so prominent because they funded 40% of the project because that's how they got all the big actors.
That's what I want to ask. Yeah.
Whatever.
Like, tinfoil hat.
I don't think that's the case.
Tinfoil hat. AMC's in this game. Monsters in this game. There's a bunch of giant fucking actors in this game. Do you think that Kojima started working on this and Sony was like, fuck, like this is costing us a fuckload of money. We have no idea if a game like this is going to actually deliver. Do we need to get outside money? Like, is that a real thing that could have happened?
I think so. Especially for how much buzz around this product is and how much they feature the stuff in them. Like, I bet they got a huge amount of money for that, for sure.
Was there ever a money or anything? Or like
I can't remember.
Budget?
I can't remember where I read this, and please correct me if this is inaccurate, but is it true this game didn't sell as well as they were hoping?
I have no idea. I don't know if they've said sales.
I don't know if somebody just mentioned that in chat or I caught it off like a tweet or something. Yeah. I'm very curious how this game sold.
So am I. I do know, here's a weird fucking stat. I do know that Days Gone is the best-selling PS4 game of the year. If you want to think about how weird shit is. Yeah. It's the best-selling game of the year. I'm pretty sure.
I don't know. According to Eurogamer, the headline is Death Stranding is PlayStation's second biggest exclusive this year.
And number one is Days Gone, right? Does it say what number one is?
Call of Duty Modern Warfare.
That's not exclusive.
According to Eurogamer, that's what this is.
I wonder. I think I'm correct in that, but I would like to have some facts. That was just a snippet that I read. With the caveat being PS4 exclusive, not like
that
of
Death
all time.
Stranding sales beaten by Days Gone and Call of Duty in latest UK charts. Wait a second.
Wait, it's
in
still
latest
selling?
ones?
Wait, what?
Hold on. This is from I don't even know what Metro News. I don't know what this place is.
Where's my mouse?
Yeah, it lost out to open world zombie game Days Gone, which, although considerably less ambitious than Death Stranding, will go down as the year's biggest Sony exclusive.
Yeah, that's the metric.
There you go.
That's fucking weird.
Wow. Now, the list, though, I think the list is out of Sony exclusives, though. So, like,
yeah
2019 Sony exclusives.
You would think
is it literally only in the UK?
Oh, that might also be true too. It might be regional.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean those chat's making a good
Yeah.
point. Those stats are always a little bit weird because it might not even count digital sales. That might just
Yeah,
be
that's
from
true.
brick
That's
and
true.
mortar.
We'll need to wait a little bit, I think,
Yeah.
until we get all this stuff.
It's a weird thing to think that
That's for a
Days
future
Gone
show.
sold that well. Yeah. All right. We should probably. I mean, should we just keep going? Should we just make this one? Let's just make this one thing. If you need to use the restroom, I think Zeke already did. So go if you want to break, by all means.
Cool. You know what? I will get a beer.
Okay. There you go. It seems like a good enough time.
If we want to stay on Death Stranding just for the first Crazy Dan question, because that deals with Death Stranding.
Oh yeah, sure. I didn't read through them yet. By all means, ask it. I don't have them open.
I've seen a lot of Death Stranding on Twitch this week, which has led me to witness some very unique concepts and ideas. If Kojima approached each of you tomorrow to star in his next project, what are some of the wildest settings you would put yourself in for a game? Second question, what about the most mundane?
I would just say put me wherever you want to put me, Kojima, because you're fucking crazy to be like the weirdest thing I could think of probably pales in comparison to what Kojima could do or think of. So I'd just say, here you go, Kojima. Put me wherever.
I made this comment when I first started playing Death Stranding, and I think this question kind of fits it. Like, remember those magnetic, like Shakespearean or poetry things that you put on your fridge with all the words and verbs and stuff like that? Just take like a handful of that and throw it at the fridge. And then when you see an adjective and a noun, that's where like I would want Kojima to put me like slimy cafe. Go.
Yeah. Figure it out. Make it work. He'll tie he'll put some strands into that and make it work.
So you're saying I'm going to be in a game about blue flamingos?
Huh. Well,
okay.
Let's go.
Okay, sounds good. Sounds good. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to follow up with another question, not necessarily pertaining to Crazy Dan's first question, but the comment Kojima's overrated. How do you feel about that? I have my own thoughts on it, but
I don't think he's overrated.
Yeah.
I think he does. Kojima has established himself as his own entity. It's one of the reasons we can say like Kojima-isms, or we can just shout his name when something weird happens. So if you are into his stuff, then you can learn to expect pretty much what you're going to get. Like, I loved Death Stranding, but there was a lot of really corny, campy stuff. I expected that because I knew I got that in Metal Gear Solid franchise.
Sure.
I knew it was coming. I also expected some other stuff that I got because I knew that there would be some phenomenally cool, like, back references and storytelling and stuff. Like, if you know Kojima and you expect Kojima, you will get Kojima. But if you go in with like lofty expectations, like, oh, it's Kojima, so this will be an amazing game, or oh, it's Kojima, so everything will work beautifully. Like if you start doing that, then I think that's just rife.
Yeah, I don't know if
not getting your expectations met.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that goes into what was the word I used. I'm seeing overhyped in chat. What did I say initially?
Overrated.
Overrated. Okay.
Overrated.
I think they're two different things, but yeah.
I think the thing is if you kind of get Kojima, if you know what to expect, then you can get hyped and get your expectations met. But if you don't know what you're getting into, I definitely think he can be overhyped. Kojima's not for everybody. It's not for everybody. But for those
Sounds like we're talking about a drug or something.
It is. No, it is, right? So when you mainline Kojima, you get that initial shock to your system. But the thing is if your body gets used to it, like if you're ready for the high, it's not overwhelming. No, okay. But it's the kind of thing where like if the problem is if you like Kojima, then he's really, really good. And you go and you tell your friends he's really, really good. But he's a flavor. So the short answer here, absolutely he's overhyped. Because he's great for what he does. But if you're not looking for what he does, then it doesn't matter how good he does it, you're not going to like it. Does that make sense? It's kind of weird.
That might be
he's
applied to everything,
flavor.
Yeah.
Tell me if this analogy works. Okay.
All right. Can we do a metaphor?
Kojima kind of reminds me of is a metaphor. I think it's more of an analogy. But
okay. All right.
If you are into Johnny Depp in a lot of makeup, acting like a fucking weirdo, you're gonna like Tim Burton movies.
Sure.
It's kind of like it's a similar thing. Like, is Tim Burton overrated? Well, if you love it, you're gonna love everything he does because it's Johnny Depp putting on makeup and acting weird. And if you like that, you're gonna like the next movie he puts out. But it's not. I wouldn't say universally good. I would say niche specifically. He's specifically good at what he does.
I like that.
Both
people. Some other really cool stuff from chat. Very similar to coffee. If you like coffee, if you've acquired the taste, then people can be like, "Oh, this coffee's amazing. This is awesome." But at the same time, there's people that just hate coffee, and it doesn't matter how good the coffee is. Like, coffee's just not their thing.
Yeah.
So when you're talking about something as kind of wide as games, where of course games are supposed to be fun. Everyone's supposed to like most games. So it's like taking a really broad audience and then putting Kojima in it and being like, if you like really good games, you'll really like Kojima. But that's not the case. That's just not the case. Like, just like Zeke said, he's a specialized, unique kind of thing. So sure, you may love games, but you may hate Kojima.
That's why it's hard to recommend.
Weird. Yeah, this is a weird conversation.
No. Well, we're getting a little bit. I don't know the proper way to say it. Philosophical about the idea of overhyped and all that shit. I will say this. There was a statement that he came out with, or maybe a reviewer said, or something like that, when all the reviews started coming out, saying that it is a game that is like, it's a brand new type of game. I think he called it like a Strand connection game or some nonsense like that. While it is nonsense, I do believe that this is a game unlike any other game I've ever played. I will go on the record saying it is a unbelievably unique experience, good or bad. It's unlike that. And in that sense, I don't think that there is any hype. I don't think that there is any like overratedness. I think that is a de facto statement. It is unlike any other game I have ever played, good or bad. It is fucking weird. And that might sound a little bit negative, but it's, I'm trying to remain in the center on that. Do you agree with Zeke? I'm watching your reaction to that because Ko already kind of voiced his, but do you agree with that statement? Do you think it is its own type of game? Not necessarily a new type of game.
If you were forcing me to answer the question, is Kojima overrated? I would say yes.
Sure. I mean, I think that's an opinion.
Like if it was yes or no, yes. Sure.
I mean, I can't argue with your opinion on that, so you can have that opinion. I don't know if. I think for my answer, since you guys voiced yours, is he overrated? No. Is it overhyped? I think everything's overhyped. That's kind
Life is overhyped.
It's kind of a cop-out answer, but I think that's my answer. Because even like Metal Gear Solid 5, which a lot of people think is a bad game, a lot of people think it's a great game, I don't think it was overrated at all. I think that game was, again, super fucking unique. And if anything, like Death Stranding further pushes the idea that I'll probably at least play for an amount of time anything that Kojima puts out. Do you think we see more Death Stranding titles? Do you think this becomes like the next thing that he constantly works on, like the Metal Gears?
He's already teased that he wants to move on to movies, which I kind of really hope he doesn't.
Yeah, that would.
Again, he's so unique in what he does. But it's really, really hard to say if we're going to see more Death Stranding. As somebody who's finished the game, it's very hard to say.
I can't answer
like
it,
not spoiler, not even spoilers. Like, it's just there's elements of finality, there's elements of non-finality. There's like it's I think it's purposefully extremely murky. There's no right or wrong answer. Like you could grasp onto many different things and go either way.
Sure. I hope he doesn't make movies just because I think the first time someone says, hey, we can go like maybe 2 hours and 30 minutes. No more. We can't go any, and he's just going to, I'm making a 5 hour, we're going to have 2 double feature back to back, first ever done in a theater. It's going to be a 5 hour movie.
You know what I would love to see though? I really want to see more with the Ludens character. because it really like that's not the Luden's character, and like the way that it's presented and everything is very interesting, and it seems like there's a lot more going on there.
Yeah.
That honestly had nothing really to do with Death Stranding. So I'm kind of curious if like maybe this is just a foundational kind of expression of something that's coming down the road, kind of like how they had those big reoccurring themes throughout the MGS franchise, and maybe Death Stranding is just like one of the expressions of whatever that is. But yeah, I really hope that he keeps doing stuff like this, because yeah, it was beautiful at the end. It was amazing. It really was.
After all the talk of like Monster and forced advertising, when you said the Luden's character, I was like, did the cough drop like have a fucking cameo in there? Like, I've got to that part yet. Did they really like put it on a billboard or some shit?
Yeah. Jeez. Oh, did you guys? I forgot this. Did you guys get your own BB? I got this. Yeah, Cody. Where's your BB? I have 2 BBs. The other one's still up in a box.
I'm sorry. I should have made that clear. Luden's is the small skeletal astronaut character that is associated with.
Off of the...
It's the mascot. Yeah.
Well, not only that, it's Kojima's emblem for his studio.
Yeah,
it's basically the representation of his.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Remember the thing that happens at the very beginning of the game where the guy's on the moon and then the fucking whale splashes in and the guy's that's Luden's. That's who we're talking about.
Oh, okay. It's the first thing we saw when Kojima actually announced his studio originally.
Yeah.
Did you guys bought those things?
Yeah, it's some
collector's edition.
It's a $200. I don't. Did you put I had batteries in mine, but I removed it.
I haven't done that yet.
It lights up on the bottom and this.
Oh, yeah, they're supposed to like. There's lights on the bottom and it has some other stuff too. Funny enough, if you look at all the packages in the world, they come wrapped in this yellow tape. You actually get a roll of that tape in the collector's edition.
I thought about just like putting that on stuff that I own around the house.
I know, right?
What's the yellow tape say? Is it like caution tape?
It's like do not open in Timefall or something like that.
Yeah.
It's got like
okay.
It's in a box over there. I don't know exactly what it says on it. Co might be able to get it.
It was $200 for that and the game
tape, except for packages.
Yeah, you get.
Oh yeah, okay, I've seen that. Yeah. Okay.
You get this, like the metal case. You get the baby. You get the tape, and you get the Luden's figure, and it's $200. Not worth it in terms of collector's editions. I don't think that it's a lot for that for the 4 items that you get. But then again, I bought the game 3 times, so you know it is.
There's that.
Yeah, it's streamer problems. Anyways, I guess we should finish up Crazy Dan's question since we did the first one. Number 2.
That means we're moving on from.
Yes, we're moving on from Death Stranding for this week. That's it. We're done. 2 hours and 18 minutes of discussion. This is about an hour and 30. It's about what I expected. Number 2. It has ever been the eternal argument of convincing console players to make the switch to PC, yet it is still frustrating to make objective points without being called a PC elitist. What have been some of your most successful methods to get your friends onto the PC gaming train? Stopping trying to do that.
I'm sorry, to get our what?
He's basically saying, what have been some of your most successful methods to get your friends onto the PC gaming train?
There's that word again. I'm not sure what that means.
Oh, friends?
I don't know what he's making a joke, but I don't understand what he's making a joke about. I think friends. Yeah. Who cares? Don't try to convince. Let your friends play on whatever they want. Unless it's the idea of like you want to be able to play with them, then play console games. They're cheaper.
Well, yeah,
dude. I mean,
and that's the thing. Like when people ask, like, is it on PC? Like, I will always prefer to get a game on PC, and the reason being is that I paid a fucking lot of money.
Yeah.
For a PC that has the best like graphics card and you know it runs the games the best and it shows off the game the best and stuff like that. Like I'm not an elitist. It's like I'm trying to get value out of something I spend a lot of money on.
Right. See, I think you guys are looking at this backwards because like the specific question about, you know, how to get friends off it. I mean, honestly, for me personally, if I know somebody who's on console, then by definition, they're no longer my friend because they're not, you know, I mean, they're on console. So at that point, I don't care how they feel because I don't associate with them.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, I think that's
no. The real talk is like, dude, it's completely different stroke. Like, you know, if you have a big TV, consoles are king in that regard. Like everything's sized better and everything looks like it's fit to the resolution and everything. Also, you know, exclusives are a huge thing, and a lot. You know, that's why I have all my consoles is exclusives, and some of my favorite games are exclusive. So it really comes down to like different strokes, man. It's different strokes.
And
like,
I think
I know
also
people that only play on console and they love it, and that's great. More power to them.
I think also this predicament is going to start to go away the more games that are starting to be multi-platform and like the multiplayer is interweaved. Like the most recent Call of Duty, you can play a PS4 person with an Xbox person with a PC person all in the same lobby. So the
That's
hope
awesome.
would be that that continues on to other games outside of the Call of Duty series. And I think it has in like Rocket League, perhaps, and a couple others as well. So hopefully it just comes down to you can play on no matter what device you're playing on, whether it's a phone or an Xbox or a computer, regardless of what your price point is in terms of the entry. The goal would be to just be able to play with everyone.
Also, for me, the biggest thing. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
If you're frugal, and if you're a bargain shopper, or you know, like one of my first like moderately acceptable gaming PC setups, or streaming setups, like anything setups, were purchased from piece by piece from the pawn shop. Like I happen to work at one, but that shouldn't stop you from like going out and hunting deals for like maybe a step, 2-3 steps down, like video card. Because once the new one comes out, the next one down drastically drops in price. But it's still fine to play 99% of the game. If you want to, you can put together a PC for a decent price if you shop around and put in the work, is what I'm saying. Like I've done it. I know other people can. And any game that you like to play, like I like playing games with a controller over keyboard and mouse almost like exclusively. And most games that you get on the PC have controller support. So if I were to convince somebody, like, should I get a PC or should I get a console? One's like a third of the price of the other. I'm like, you're not shopping. I mean, you're not like, I don't think you're putting in the work.
Right. Yeah.
Because I think you can get, a comparable system maybe for like double-ish the price, but it will be better in the long run.
Yeah. Honestly, the issue right now, I think, with buying computers is that video card prices, thanks to Bitcoin mining, are just astronomical, and they don't actually degrade that much anymore. So I think like even a 1080 these days is still a pretty expensive piece of hardware.
They're really
even though it's
value.
old. Yeah, like it's odd to see a piece of hardware hold their value because so many people use them in fucking Bitcoin farms, which is an odd thing that kind of came to be. So, yeah. But anyways, let's not get on to Bitcoin. Then it's just going to get real bad. I'm going to start getting emails about how I can improve my mining and all this the blockchain bullshit.
God damn it, you took it from me, you son
I
of
know.
a bitch.
I was trying to get there. I could see the cogs going in your head. And I was just trying to get it all out before I could get bamboozled. And I got you. I figured it out. Third and potentially final question ever for Crazy Dan. Due to my decline in question submissions, I feel as though it would be proper to soon pass the mantle of question guide to another veteran of the viewer base. How would you all feel about such a change, and what do you consider are the proper requirements to earn such a power? I think we should just somehow make like a question submission thing, and anytime we want questions, we just pull from that. Like just a Google form it'd be a 5-minute thing to create. We don't have to do anything super fancy.
I think it'd be easy for us to come each week with one question.
Yeah, I think
like from our respective chats.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I don't. The nice thing about this show, to speak about the show a little bit, at least from my perspective, is that we have so many weird segments that week to week we can do a show that won't have certain segments, like trailer time. It's a lot of fun, but it takes up a lot of time, so we haven't done it recently. Question time. I think the last time we had questions was probably 3 or 4 episodes ago. And so I like having different things like that. So if we have a slow week where there's not a Death Stranding to talk about, we can implement that type of stuff. So most likely what will happen is we'll set up some sort of Google form or maybe something with the extension that we're currently working on and go from there. But yeah, you don't worry about having to submit questions or feeling the need to submit questions every week, Dan.
Yeah.
That's not something that you need to worry about whatsoever. It's not like we sit here and just fucking Dan didn't make questions. What are we going to do? We can talk about anything for an amount of time because that's kind of what our job is. We can talk about nothing for an amount of time, really, is the proper statement. Because that's kind of what our job is.
Even things that are just completely wrong.
Yeah, that's literally 3 hours every week on Wednesdays at 1 p.m. Eastern on a show called Drop Frames. So, yeah.
I like my gut reaction was, Crazy Dan, you passed the crown. You crown the new question king yourself.
That's actually exactly what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Like Crazy Dan kind of started this. Like I would love if Crazy Dan wants to, of course. If he wants to pass the mantle because he's just done dealing with this bullshit, then that's fine too. But if he wants to stay a part of it, like I would like Crazy Dan, bring us 3 questions from anywhere you want. Maybe you can get them off Twitter. Maybe you could jump in each of our chats and grab them there. Maybe some throughout the week people can submit them to you. Like you could become the focal point that everything comes through into the Crazy Dan question hour. Since it all started with him anyway. I think even as hell, Crazy Dan frames in a year or two. But yeah, it's the kind of
Crazy
thing where
Dan 2020. Woo! Yeah.
yeah, woo! But no, it's yeah. He could run that whole segment and bring any questions from any corner he'd want and mix it up sometimes, or just do him if it's like whatever he wants to do, man. Drop Dan's. Yeah.
There you go. Also, Dan, we're gonna have a submission thing in the extension. So if you don't feel like having any of that pressure, just wait and it'll get done. So
I will say I do kind of like the idea of a Q&A portion of the show where each of us brings a question from like our community. I think that would be kind of cool. Like that's kind of, especially now since we're doing it on all 3 channels. Like maybe even we could have Barry set up like a little bot or something, and
yeah, that'd be cool. In the I don't know how that would work.
By the way, friend of all of our channels, I would say, happy birthday, Barry Carline.
Yeah, is today his birthday or yesterday?
It's his birthday.
Okay, because he said it was his birthday last night, but it was because he was on London time and it was
he's in like some weird made up country. Yeah. Who knows what time it was there?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's the day in real people time here in America.
Yeah. I'm going to talk about Need for Speed Heat for probably 5 minutes because that's all I needed. Then we'll do Indie Sunday because one of the games you actually played the game that I suggested you should play, and I'm very curious to talk about that.
Did.
Hey, Need for Speed Heat is a racing game. I'm done. There's nothing else. It's the best Need for Speed to come out in a long time.
The last one?
No, because the last few have been dog shit. I feel like this game doesn't have a heart. Like, it's got a great frame for everything. Let's talk about it in the shape of a car. It's got a great body. Okay, just a fantastic.
We talk about its butt a little bit.
Yeah, we'll talk about its butt. It's got fantastic looking butt. It just is a great looking butt in terms of the game and the butt. However, the things inside of the car, it's just hollow. There's nothing there. This is the story right here. And it's basically Discount Fast and the Furious, where the cops are just raging assholes that steal cars. And in the opening of the game, threaten to kill a driver. But luckily the car has a camera on it. So they're like, no, we can't kill this guy. Stop it. You're being recorded, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, the story's whatever. And it always has been whatever. I think this is a broken record to this point, but they just need to go back to making Burnout games where it was like, we're going to give you a fast car. You're going to drive really fast. You're going to crash into this thing and get points. Don't try to fucking...
I love how you're not even looking at the screen. You're just like...
Dude, this is the stupidest thing. It's so stupid. There is zero interest in this story for me and just about anyone I know. And the other thing that sucked about this game, and I actually really I played this game 2 days in a row, which for a driving game, I think speaks volumes in itself. But the other thing that is really about this game is the fucking soundtrack is abysmal. And I don't know if that's just me talking about the current state of music for young people, or if this, and I'm old, or if this is just a bad soundtrack.
I just have to stop because I'm gonna see OK Boomer in the chat so many times now.
Man. And
there it is, just like I said.
It's fine if this is the type of music that you guys listen to. I'm sorry, but man, your life must be shit. Because what the fuck? This music is bad. It's actual trash.
It's AP, when did you become an old person?
I know. It makes me feel old how bad this music is. It's a bunch of mumble rap, which is just god awful and like weird. I had to turn the music off completely and play my own. I played old Need for Speed soundtracks and Burnout Paradise soundtracks, but yeah.
Is mumble rap the name of it, or does it have an actual name?
Mumble rap is like the genre of rap.
Oh, is it?
I think,
okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be really ignorant here. Is mumble rap just like rap where it's like mumbling, like low talking, you can barely understand it? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Is that not most rap?
No.
Oh.
I don't think so.
I need to broaden my horizon.
No, you don't. New music is bad.
Oh. Okay.
I was listening to Take Me Down to the Paradise City the entire time I was playing this game. It's pretty good. So
mumble rap.
I think Kendrick Lamar is mumble rap, but I think that's like the pinnacle of mumble rap, is it not? I don't know.
Who is the mumble rapper?
Okay, Kendrick. Okay, we've upset the entire world. Kendrick is not mumble rap at all. What is Kendrick then? Because I actually like Kendrick Lamar. I think it's enjoyable. Jesus, I'm getting like shut up, JP. Like people are actually offended. It's lyrical.
When you say mumble rap, the first thing that comes to mind is it trap music? Because trap music I would like is close, right? Because it's like
no, I don't think. Oh, chat's saying no.
Mr. Calling, my dude.
I think you did. Also, you should hit up a record label. It shows how old I am today. Also, chat. It seems the chat has no idea what they're talking about because they're just repeating the memes and not actually giving information, which is maybe a Zoomer move to begin with.
Okay, so trap kind of bumps up against what we were talking about mumble rap, but it's not actually like super close.
Okay.
How about we just say the soundtrack sucks and move on to interesting things?
I agree. Let's talk about it on Sunday. Okay. Don't buy this game for $60. If this game's on sale for like 20 or 30, it might be worth it. Like the actual driving aspects of this game are pretty fun. The fucking first car you get sucks. As soon as you get an actually fast car, the sense of speed really picks up, and it was actually a lot of fun just to drive around with as long as you turn the radio off. So that's my 5 minutes of Need for Speed heat. Zeke, let's talk about Indie Sunday, and more importantly, let's talk about Manifold Garden. What'd you think?
Okay.
Of this game? How was this game? I'm also Zeke, you might have done this on your stream as well, but I'm going to do it because I know I get sick by watching this. Be careful about watching the video footage of this game. You might actually get a little bit queasy. And I'm not saying that in terms of like, this is going to be crazy. I'm actually saying that you might get queasy. Just be careful a little bit. So
it's definitely like it can cause motion sickness for sure because you'll see.
Yeah. How did you like it though? I'm curious. Did you finish it?
Oh no, I didn't finish it. I absolutely enjoyed it like a ton. It's a mix of Portal, oh God, why am I blanking on the name? Yes, Antichamber, Portal, Antichamber, that kind of stuff. It's one of the devs was in chat while I was playing it, and he confirmed like, yeah, it took influences from all those games for sure. And it was very cool. It's immersive, atmospheric. It has like a sort of like an ominous undertone to it because it doesn't really explain itself, like what you're actually doing. I'm guessing that it's like symbolism or metaphorical or something like that. But it doesn't have like a storyline that they give you. It's more a storyline by playing the game, seeing the environments, seeing stuff that happens. One of the first things you do is you find this like central hub, and there's this like weird murky black shit around what looks like a cube in the center, and then you see 3 lines leading to this central hub. And then you realize, like, one of the first things you do, like, because I only played this for a couple hours, so like not really spoilery, but one of the first things you do is you follow the line, and then it leads you to like a puzzle house, like a puzzle room box thing. Once you figure out how to solve that, the line lights up and you go to the next one. That's like the basic first gist of the game. And then once you have all 3 lit up, then you progress to the next room with the same kind of thing, like with 5 lines leading from like the central hub thing or whatever. The thing about this game is it is completely picture a die, like a 6-sided die. Those are the planes that you have to move, and you can move it as long as you're like facing a wall. You can move like if you click on the wall, it moves it down. So that is down. You go up to the next wall, now that is down, and stuff like that. So there's a lot of puzzles that deal with, okay, I can't get to that door because I have to move this, but in order to get that door open, I have to put a block here, but it can only be moved when the block, if you look at the block, you'll see an arrow pointing down. And by the way, this part of the game is just me fucking around and seeing like it's infinite, like it's an infinite loop.
Yeah. I'll skip ahead and show some other stuff.
Yeah, please do. But you'll look at the box, see the box pointed down? That's the only time you can move it, is when the red plane is the bottom plane. Any other time, you cannot move that box. So you have to figure out sometimes how to get this box from way up here on this staircase down here by manipulating the plane and that kind of thing. And sometimes you have to like take one box, move it, put it right below where the trigger is, move the entire room, move the box that you want on top of it, so the gravity it'll lay on top of it on the gravity, and then move the whole entire room back to where it was to get the door to open. It's strictly puzzle game, like full on puzzle game. But I love the look of it, I love the feel of it, the ambiance, the atmosphere, the kind of like unraveling, kind of like you kind of, it doesn't tell you what you're doing if you are like defeating some evil force, or like fucking Rainbow Bright restoring color to the world or something like that. They don't really tell you.
Yeah. Which
is fine. But it's a great like immersive puzzle game, and it's $19.99. It is on the Epic Store right now. I'm not sure if anybody knows if it's available somewhere else.
I'm not sure.
Please tell me. It says it's coming out on Steam like at some point. I'm not sure exactly when, but it is on the Epic Store right now. It is developed by William Cheer. It's CHYR. I believe they said it's pronounced Cheer. William Cheer Studio.
I think someone in chat was saying that he actually streamed his development on this game.
Yes, huge. He's that was the guy who, it wasn't actually William Cheer that came in, but one of the devs, audio designer, whatever, came into the chat. And he was like, yeah, he streamed a lot of this creation on Twitch.
I might
like
watch
he's a
some of
big
that.
streamer. Yeah.
Because to me, this game, like watching people, I've watched you play this now, and I've watched Dodger play this as well. I cannot conceive of how someone would go about designing something like this, and so I would love to see where that came from.
The weird thing is, I'm not sure if this is the case or not, but in one like the level after the first, you come across this like it's like a museum setting, and on a pedestal, like encased in what, like, glass or whatever, you see like the 3D model of the land you're in.
Oh, weird.
like a little model, and you can kind of like look and see. And I'm wondering if that's how the lands were created to begin with, was like 3D created and then created the puzzles around it or something like that. It's really, really cool.
Huh. Okay. Someone, the person's name is William, spelled like William. Cheer, Chyr. It's his Twitch name, one word. If you're at all curious and watching some of those streams, I might check that out, because once I got past like almost throwing up from watching the two of you play this game, it was just a mind fuck to watch. Like you brought up Antichamber. I feel like this game is Antichamber played more with like room constraints, and I feel like this has much more of an outdoor feel to it.
Yeah, Antichamber felt a lot more claustrophobic.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good way to put it. And this one is
this one, I think, purposefully, it has windows and shit.
Yeah.
So it doesn't feel like you're trapped. It feels like it's like it's way less anxious than Antichamber. That's the thing I didn't really care for with Antichamber, is that you were encased in this box, whereas this is like, hey, we're gonna give you a puzzle room, but nice window outside. It's like when I used to work at the post office, like way back when I was like 18, I worked in the main post office, which was this big warehouse where they processed just all the mail, no windows, fluorescent lights. It was stifling and just like awful.
Yeah.
And then I worked in another warehouse that had fucking windows, and I was like, the difference is like palpable.
My streaming, the room I'm in right now has no windows in it. And it's really fucking weird sometimes. The only window that I have is through Aaron's office, and so if I have the blinds closed on the sliding door between us, I don't have a window outside. And I definitely feel the impacts of that on a daily basis. So, yeah, I understand. What was next? What'd you play after this? Let's see. It was a game called Pilgrims. How was Pilgrims, Zeke?
Oh, Pilgrims, it was great.
Oh, here it is. Okay.
It is a relatively short game, so we can't like.
Oh yeah.
Don't fast forward too much. It's a relatively short game, but it's by the same people who made Chuchel, who made Machinarium, like point and click puzzle game kind of a thing. It has the same kind of sense of humor. It has the same like Chuchel sound effects where the people talk to each other and they go, and you get what they're saying by the looks on their faces and the volume of their voice, the inflection they use. Even though they're not speaking like, intelligible words, you get their exact emotions by what they say. And sometimes, like, if you're confused, they have a little like thought bubble saying like one of the points in the game, this dude has a thought bubble and there's like a little like arrow pointing to the sad face. You do one thing for him and it goes ding to like the halfway point. They're like, oh, okay, I need to do one more thing to get this guy to the happy face for him to give me whatever. It's charming. It's funny. The thing that I really that gives this game some replay value, because I only played it for like an hour, I think, and I beat it one time. But the thing that gives it replay value is all the different combinations of things you can do throughout the game. It's one of those games where, like, for instance, I made a soup with a mushroom that I found in the forest, and I was like, wouldn't that be hilarious if I gave the soup to this guy and he fucking tripped balls? And sure enough, you give the soup to the guy and he goes, and he just fucking trips out. And it's fucking great. And like, you could probably do that with every single like thing you meet in the game. You can see like how they react if they trip out or whatever. And there's like all kinds of different like items that you can do that with. Like you can lasso, you can fish, you can like throw shit at like whatever. That's the replay value of the game. So the first playthrough was only an hour long, but it is only $4.99. It's $4.99.
Okay.
So it's easily affordable. And if you like Chuchel or Machinarium, I'm still not sure how to say it. I want to say Machinarium because Dave said Machina. Right? Yeah. If you like those games, it's the same kind of sense of humor and art style and that kind of stuff. If you like those, you like this. But it's charming and it's funny, and I really enjoyed it.
Awesome.
It is developed and published by Amanita Design. That's the name of the group.
Yeah, I definitely dropped in while you were playing this one, and I probably watched for like a solid 4 or 5 minutes and had no idea what was going on. Like, completely. You seem to know what was going on, and you seem to be making progress.
You were
I was
watching
just
it.
like,
were you watching him play Death Stranding? Is that what? I got a lot of those people.
no, see, I got that one confused. I thought that was that old game Carmageddon.
Jesus. Oh God. What is this? Oh, I remember seeing some maybe Game Awards trailer for this like last year. Is this any good?
This is called Sea of Solitude.
Oh.
And this one is on Origin. That's how I got it. I'm not sure if you can get it somewhere else, but that's the only way I found that I could get it on my PC.
Yeah.
But it's on the Origin store. Let me see here. I forgot I had to open up the
Origin store.
Origin. I don't have it. I don't have it pinned to my.
I mean, who does really?
Speaking of,
I mean, this is the first time I've opened Origin. Like to play this game, I had to do a lot of updates.
What were you gonna say, Co?
I was gonna say that. Speaking of like metaphors, and earlier, like I heard this game is like everything's a metaphor in this game. Is that accurate?
Yeah. Yeah.
You said that with such disdain. What?
Hold on. I'm trying to.
Are you trying to log into Origin?
Yeah, I'm trying to get into my Origin. There we go. So I can give you the price and the blurb or whatever.
Sure.
Okay. Okay. Everything is yes. Okay. Let me just say that everything is a metaphor. Yeah, but it's not like hard to figure out. It's like it's as much of a metaphor as someone who like texts you an eggplant emoji. Like that's a metaphor, sure, but it represents exactly what you think it represents.
That's a penis.
This game is the same thing. It's like this monster is like, oh, and you're like, that's obviously like a representation of depression. Like it's not very mysterious. It's pretty heavy-handed when it comes out. And that's why I had that reaction. When you were like, oh, everything is a metaphor. It's like, yeah, but it's like
so
not
metaphor.
You got any more brain busters? You know, like
so it's basically like less of a metaphor and more of a representation.
It's if it's metaphors like Fluffeth said, it's ham-fisted. But that in and of itself is fine. Like as long as they're aware of that, and I'm sure they were, that they weren't trying to like, you know, be artsy about it and make you like kind of maybe it's this. The game in and of itself is fucking gorgeous. It is a beautiful game. The environments are outstanding. The music is pretty good. Some I think some parts could use a little bit more background music for my flavor, but when the music is on, it's good. The sound design is great. The control is crisp and clean. It didn't feel sluggish or anything like that. You move around at a pretty good pace. Like even because there's two modes of transportation that I found in my short time of playing it. There's walking, and then there's a little boat a motorboat that you drive around in, and they're all pretty good. Like as far as getting from point A to point B. The voice acting in it,
there's voice
is
acting.
Probably unintentionally funny.
That's never good. That's like the worst type
that's
of
never good.
Yeah.
Because honestly, like it's kind of sounds like a feminine Tommy Wiseau a little bit sometimes.
Oh God.
Yeah, because it's like the narrator, the person speaking is English isn't their first language, so they have an accent, and the accent is a little Tommy Wiseau.
Is it Tommy Wiseau? Is that who's in?
No.
Okay.
I think she's French. If I'm not mistaken, we had this conversation. I think she's French, but the way she pronounces some stuff is like
German.
You just want to say like, "Oh, a hi bird," you know, like it's. had to cover my mouth the first time it happened because I was like, they don't mean to be funny. It doesn't mean to be funny.
Yeah.
It's not bad. It's not poorly acted. It's just the accent that she puts on words and like, you know, the meter of her speech is just really funny.
Sure.
But it's good. I mean, the voice acting is decent. The subject matter is definitely like heavy stuff. Depression, bullying, suicide, stuff like that. So it deals with pretty heavy issues. But I don't think I'll go back and finish the game because it lacked a certain subtlety that I would prefer in a game like this. This game goes like, this monster is depression. Do you get it? Rather than like, oh, like finding that out later. Like, oh, that's what that meant.
It's so hard not to make a Death Stranding joke with every like. That's fun. I'm just holding back right now. It sounds exactly like you're talking about Death Stranding in parts. Yeah. Do you need some sort of delivery mechanic to keep you going backseat? Is that what you need between the metaphors here to really reel you in?
It would be nice if there was like if I could tip over for no reason while I was running.
Sure.
That would
like a balance.
That would make it more interesting.
Do you think this character's name is
between everywhere you wanted to go and where you are?
Yeah.
That were okay. Yeah.
Is this character Depression Woman? Is that her name?
Like a Prozac break. This break brought to you by Prozac.
Good Lord. Okay. All right. That's it. We're done. The jokes are over. We've beaten the dead horse. It's done. It has depression now. How much? What was this cost? You said $20?
Let me just. I'm not familiar with how the Origin store works. Let me just see. Sea of Solitude.
I own 4 copies of Battlefield 4, by the way, on Origin. It's a great program.
Oh, it doesn't show me. I think it was $19.99. I'm pretty sure it was $19.99 at the Origin store because it doesn't show me what I paid for it on their store page anymore.
Okay. Someone in chat said $17, I think. So.
Well, purchase as a gift. There it is, $19.99.
Cool.
Yep.
Cool. All right.
Well, here the blurb is: when humans get too lonely, they turn into monsters. Sea of Solitude takes you on a personal journey of a young woman's loneliness. Yeah, and it's let's see, where is the? Got to give credit where credit's due. It is developed by Joe May, and it's JO-MEI Games. Joe May Games, published by EA.
Okay. All right. Last but not least, on the old Indie Sunday, M.O. Ashtray.
Yes.
It's not called that.
It was highly highly debated. Like, how do you say this? Is it M.O. Astray or Mo Astray?
It's not that funny. I don't know why that got me so good. But yeah, tell us more about Mo Ashtray.
Hey, everybody, I'm Mo Ashtray. Welcome to my bar.
Oh,
Mo Astray, or M.O. Astray, is a game you can get on Steam. The blurb is, it's a pixel art side-scrolling action platformer. Lead M.O. or Mo through mind-bending puzzles using special abilities, bizarre enemies, threatening traps, and ingenious level designs await. I love when they do that in their own description.
Yeah, that's
ingenious level designs.
Jeez.
It's developed by Archprey Inc., published by Rayark Inc. It is $14.99 on Steam. This game is it's so strange to play a action platformer game where you're not like a bipedal character with like 2 arms, 2 legs, and a head doing slashing and stuff, because that's kind of what I'm used to. But you play as this slimy thing, and you go around. The story is actually kind of intriguing because and the way they tell the story is actually a really cool idea. How they reveal what happened in this station is as the slime, you find like walking like mutant people, or you find dead corpses. You slime onto their head, and then you read their brain, and then you see like their like designation, their name, like their rank, and you see like little blurbs of story, like, what are we still doing here? They were supposed to pick us up 10 years ago. What's going on? And that's the story. That's like the little piece you get. And then the next one, you infect another person, and the other person doesn't necessarily continue that part of the story. Their little blurb, and I'm guessing it might be like their last line, their last like thoughts or whatever. But like you'll see someone's like, no, they've gotten loose. No, and that's it. Like shit like that. It like unravels the story in little pieces by, in like jumping on the heads of different things. And you can jump on the head of anything that's living and moving. So you can jump on the head of like these mutant, like maggoty dog things. Like they're more maggot than dog, but you jump on them and they have like little spikes that come out of their back or whatever. But I was like, I wonder if you can, and jump right on their head. And it says like different stuff. Sometimes it'll say like animalistic stuff, like this smells like food, I want to eat it. Or sometimes it'll say like human stuff, like, why do I have this funny feeling in my gut right now? I don't understand. And you're like, oh shit, did these things used to be human? Like, and that's how it unveils the story, which I thought was a really cool mechanic. The action of it is more puzzly, as far as it's not really combat. It's jumping from, and that's how the mode of transportation is jumping and sticking. Like it's kind of like Meat Boy. You jump from wall to wall, stick. If you hang on too long, you start sliding down that wall. So right. Gravity has sway, but you jump like from here to there. And sometimes you have to, like, if a human in the game is moving and you jump on their head, you can control them move like around and stuff. Sometimes you have to control people to hit put their hand on a control panel, and then it opens up a new door for you. So then you can leave, because as the slime, you don't have the handprint to get the door open, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it's really cool. The look of it is like, I love the look of it. It's gorgeous, very colorful. It's a little weird to control with a controller. They suggest a controller, but it's aim, jump, aim, jump, and there's a fall off trajectory that you have to get used to, like bullet drop or whatever you want to call it.
Sure.
And there it is. Yeah. So you can aim, latch on the monster's head. You can control the monster's movement. Also read their thoughts. Yeah. But yeah, that's Moastray.
Yeah. It's a very interesting name. Yeah. It's one of those names. It's one of those things that makes me think about when Rami talked about how games are named. Where it's just like, I don't know.
For sure.
Yeah. And then you played some user words, which was your wrap up. So, we got 2 minutes. Was there anything? Code, did you play anything else besides? I know you're playing some more Arcanum, but we talked a little bit about that last week. Was there anything else?
Last thing I'll say, we never covered it, but for those that want like weird indie horror, check out that Absolov game. It's futuristic Viking horror.
Yeah, you mentioned
and
that last
it's made
week.
by a 5-man team. The reason I want to shout it out so bad is it's made by a 5-man team, and it's one of the better like 5-man team games I played in a while. It was actually relatively complete because of it.
Okay.
Yeah, I think did you ever try Absolov?
I don't think so.
It's a 5-man team, so I think it would actually qualify for Indie Sunday. If you ever checked it out, you may like it. It's the genre is futuristic Viking horror. So it's really weird. It's basically about like a human corporation that digs deep enough to find a portal to like sync up Midgard.
Oh god.
And then this corporation like goes through the Yggdrasil, the world tree, into different Viking realms, like pulls back tech, and then they wake a god, and it's like, it's crazy.
That
it's
sounds
really
cool.
wild.
You said it's a horror
It's
game?
actually pretty. Yeah, it's a Viking. It's a futuristic Viking horror game. So like God of War fans will see tons of stuff in it that they'll immediately know. Like you go through labs, and like in the labs they have like behind glass like portions of Valkyrie that they pulled out of ice, like their shields and weapons.
Oh wow.
And Thor's hammer is what they're using to power the entire like scientific structure. They have like cables and stuff going into it. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
Huh,
So yeah,
okay.
fans of that stuff may enjoy it.
Cool. Yeah, someone in chat said that you did play it on a past Indie Sunday, Zeke. I just don't know if you ever talked about it.
Oh yeah. It says I have 105 minutes in it.
I don't know. We can definitely bring it up next week. I'm curious to see what that game actually looks like. So I think next week might be a little bit of a, hopefully, I mean, Death Stranding's out. Well, unless we do the story stuff for next week for Death Stranding, that might take another hour. But yeah, we should definitely bring that up next week. I don't think there's anything else I played. Kind of already got through all the news, so I think we're good.
Oh, I just wanted to show you, Ko.
That's pretty old.
Yeah, dude.
Well, no, that's a smaller box, so that can't be that old.
Oh my god, dude!
Yeah, I found it on eBay. I made
have
sure
the largest nerd erection right now. That is
the
so
box
cool.
and the book. Yeah,
that is
so
awesome.
Next time I have like some downtime, looks like I'll be playing some Arcanum.
That is so cool, man. That is so cool.
Wait a minute, Stadia launches next week.
Yeah, dude, that's a 2001 game. That's an amazing condition.
It really was. It really is. Yeah.
Wow.
When did they go over to the small boxes? That must have been right around that time for the change, right?
Right around that time.
Yeah.
Yep. It was right late 90s, early 2000s is when they dropped the gigantic box. Like,
yeah, they were fucking huge. They were massive.
Oh god, yeah. I remember when boxes they were like shaped for like logos and stuff. Like, oh man,
completely unnecessarily big. Yeah.
Well, a lot of that had to do with because they were filled with the floppy disk, right? Like instead of just a jeweled CD case.
And multiple CDs for a while.
Yeah.
Big game manuals, back when companies cared about that stuff.
We don't have too much time to talk about. Do you guys sign up for the Stadia Founders thing at all? Or are you just...
I did. And apparently, like, if you remember, we on this show, like, all ordered our Stadias when they announced it around that time. It turned out that, like, we may not be in the first batch.
Yep.
If you supposedly have already received an email if you're going to be getting your Stadia on release. I have not. I actually went back and confirmed I bought the Founder Edition.
Yep.
Like, what other edition can you get first if not the Founder? But yeah, so I have no idea anymore. People were asking me today, like, hey, Ko, we know you're going to get Stadia to test it for us. And I was like, yeah, like we all said we were going to do that on Drop Frames for our different communities. But on that note, I don't think any of us know when we're going to get them. It's weird. Apparently they oversold. So only like the first come, first serve of the very beginning orders are going to get it now. And then there's going to be a second wave. Maybe later this year.
It's just a controller and a Chrome thing, though. So, like, how do you oversell
Hold on, though. One thing I read that was pretty interesting. Somebody did some testing with it. Let me see if I can find it. And they apparently said that an hour of Google Stadia is like 14 gigabytes at 4K. So they were basically saying, like, if you're on any kind of a metered plan, like, it's not an option for you. Like, it's zero option. So, yeah.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. That's going to be a thing.
Yeah. I think the biggest news or the most recent news was that they put all the launch titles out there, and it's mostly like Ubisoft products, Destiny. I think there's 12 of them total, and none of them are new games. And I think the Destiny 2 servers that they have is closed off from the rest of the servers. So it's like I can't play my current Destiny character in there. And if you play with that, I don't think you can play with Xbox or PC players. If anyone in chat can clarify that, feel free, because that right out of the gate, don't buy Destiny 2 on Stadia.
So questionable right out the gate.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, guys, 14 gigs for 4K an hour is realistic, but just think about that. Like, if you have a metered plan, like 14 gigs an hour, just gone. Like, metered plans are not designed for that kind of data usage, just at all, essentially.
Okay.
So it's gonna I'm specifically talking about data cap users, which unfortunately here in the United States is a pretty large portion of users.
It's very common. So, and even if you have an unlimited plan in the US, most of the time they start to throttle you, or you get like a message saying like, hey, you've spent 300 gigs the past month. We're going to start to throttle you till the next payment thing. Blah, blah, blah. Fuck you.
Yep.
That's usually the message I get. Apparently it's cross-save, not cross-play for the Destiny 2 stuff on Stadia. So, or sorry, cross save, but you can't play. You can take your character over to that platform, but you can't play with other people on that platform. Is what that means. So, anyways, let's do some shout outs. Call it a show.
Remind me next time to talk about the end of AI.
Right. Okay. Yeah, we should definitely
some nom files.
Cool. Sounds good. Why don't you do some shout outs for us now, Zeke?
Okay. What's up, everybody? Ezekiel the Third here. You can find me at /Ezekiel_I on Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube. Thanks, itmeJP, for co-hosts and friends and talking video games and that kind of stuff. If you want to catch me, my next stream will be Friday at noon Pacific. I'm debating on whether I'm gonna be doing Devil May Cry 4. Or a CD-ROM game, or maybe finishing Death Stranding, since there's so many people who apparently enjoyed it when I was playing it. So who the fuck knows? But I'm not going to be broadcasting after this, and I'm taking tomorrow off because I am going
moving
to
the
buy
mixer.
a KitchenAid appliance.
He's going to Poland, Jack.
Yes, I am going to Poland because I am going to be in season 2 of The Witcher. Just confirmed that, so I can say it now. Thank God. Oh, good. But yeah, that'll be my next stream. Will be Friday. So if you want to check me out, that's the best time to do it. If you want to see updates to what I'm doing, just follow my Twitter. That's all. Bye. Cool.
Do some shout outs.
For sure. As always, a big thank you to Zeke and JP. A lot of fun. I love these shows. It was a lot of fun today. I am Ko. Hi. I haven't met you. Tomorrow morning at 8 a.m., we're going to be starting with some Arcanum. So if you're interested at all in checking that game out, would love to have you there. Then maybe during the day tomorrow at some unforeseen point, we'll be switching to a new hype title. Maybe. Potentially. I don't know yet, but it could be a possibility. So stop by and check that out. Also, you can follow me at twitter.com/GoCarnage. Any news will be there as well. And then, of course, on Friday, we'll be playing a very hyped title, Star Wars. Going to be doing a very deep dive into Star Wars over the weekend. We just got some amazing new lightsaber battling emotes, and very excited to check that out. Hope you join us for it. And as always, thank you for watching.
Awesome stuff. Thanks for being here. As for me, we've got a lot of restreaming coming up. Tomorrow, the Microsoft XO19 is a fucking weird event name. That's at 3 p.m. Eastern. I think we're going to be checking that out. Path of Exile Con stream will happen on Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern. I don't know if I'm going to have anyone joining me for that stuff. Anyone's welcome to. But I will definitely be restreaming that stuff. Going to be playing some more Death Stranding right after, and most likely later tonight as well. I got to go pick up the dog from daycare, but I should be back in about an hour after that, around 6 tonight, so I'll be continuing Death Stranding. Got to try to finish it up. I might also be playing another game tomorrow, just like Ko, which I don't know what I could say about that, because they weren't exactly clear. But I got to finish Death Stranding as well, so I don't know how I'm going to work that out. And then Friday we'll be checking out Star Wars, just like everyone else. So,
can you name the game?
Or not? I don't know. Probably not. I'm not going to try.
Chat, can you name the game for me? And you have to be more than 2 words, because that doesn't mean anything to me.
They probably can. And then I want to beat Death Stranding. So that's kind of the main thing. We'll be playing it right after the stream here today, right after Drop Frames. So that's that. I'll message you guys after the show if you want to do the EA stream tomorrow. I know it's kind of in the middle of the day, so and I don't know what all is good, or not EA, sorry, Microsoft. I don't know what all is going to be there, but we'll see. That's it for Drop Frames. Thanks everyone for watching. We'll be back with another show next week, maybe even a guest. Who knows? We might get crazy next week. We'll see. That's it though. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you next time. Have a good one.
See you guys next week. It's going to get weird.
It's going to get weird. Yeah. Bye. I don't know what that means.